call this meeting to order. Mr. Lejeune, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Lejeune,
Here.
Mr. Davidson,
Here.
Mr. Edmond, Ms. Trahan, Mr. Lachele,
Here.
Mr. Bergeron,
Here.
Ms. LeBou, Ms. Mason,
Here.
and Mr. Hidalgo.
Here.
Superintendent, you have comments?
Madam President, board members, I'll pass.
Moving on to information items. Item 2.1, Superintendent Francis Touchette Jr. awarded Louisiana 4-H State Superintendent Award. Ms. Ginger Richard.
Yes, we are excited to have Superintendent Touchette awarded this state award for his work with our 4-H department and the Louisiana LSU Ag Center. A lot of this work is centered around Health Rocks and keeping our middle school students clean in regards to substance abuse. So again, a lot of our teachers have put work into this program with Mr. Touchette leading that cause. So we are excited about the award, and he will be presented an award at the LSU Ag Center in Baton Rouge in a couple weeks. So congratulations, Superintendent Touchette.
Yes, Mr. Lachele.
Madam President, for your information in the boards, though the low-grade fever that was last week is gone, if you see me get up and go to view the meeting in the executive boardroom, I don't want to have a coughing episode on the board floor. So if you happen to see me, I'm not leaving. I'll come back for the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, before we move to litigation, I would like to ask my fellow board members, does anyone object to moving the Como issue to the first item on the consent agenda? I'm sorry. If there's no objections, okay. Madam Secretary, can you make sure that when we come back from litigation that the Como issue is the first? Thank you. All right, moving on to litigation. Item 3.1, discussion and/or action concerning potential litigation involving damage to Litriump front entrance sign. And the second item is 3.2, discussion and/or action concerning prospective litigation in the, do I need to wait? I'm sorry. Okay, I can do both. All right, discussion and/or action concerning prospective litigation in the matter of Shawana Johnson relative to her workers' comp claim.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss both 3.1 and 3.2.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Brett Lachele and a second by Mr. Roddy Bergeron. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Okay, well, all in favor, correct? Okay, thank you. All right, we're going into executive session.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion that we return to regular session.
Second.
Second.
Second. Okay, thank you. Second by Mr. Bergeron. Got that. All right, thank you.
All those in favor?
All right, we're moving on to, what? Oh, I'm so sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
We're back in.
We're back in session.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion that we accept council's recommendation.
Second.
For both 3.1 and 3.2, that we accept council's recommendation.
Still second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Latchley and a second by Roddy Bergeron. Do we have any public comment? On the litigation?
Yes. I was hoping that this was going to be before y'all went into executive session, but good evening. My name is Sarah Bennett, and I'm speaking on the executive session that is taking place tonight. I understand and respect the need for privacy on these matters. I see that there are 2 different docket items to be discussed. However, I'm not seeing anything on the agenda regarding docket number C20261673, the case
Ma'am,
regarding...
this is not on the agenda. You cannot
Right.
speak about this.
Is executive session on the agenda?
No,
went
there's
to
2
executive
items that
session?
were discussed in the executive session.
Right.
Nothing else was discussed.
So I was recommending that y'all add another
No.
item.
That's not on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment? All right, seeing none, do we have any board comment? Seeing none, I call for the vote.
Ms. Mason,
Yes.
Ms. LeBeau,
Yes.
Mr. Hidalgo,
Yes.
Mr. Bergeron,
Yes.
Mr. Lejeune,
Yes.
Mr. Davidson? Yes. Mr. Edmond,
Yes.
Ms. Trahan,
Yes.
and Mr. Latchley.
Yes.
9 for, none against.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item 5.1. It's actually one of our action items. Discussion and/or action to take Ove Como High School offline for the 2026-27 school year and repurpose the campus. Ove Como High School will be taken offline at the end of 2025-26 academic school year in anticipation of renovations for the new academy. Ove Como High School facility will be repurposed and renovated to accommodate the W.D. and Mary Baker Smith Career Center and E.J. Sam Accelerated School with anticipation to service students no later than the 2028-29 academic school year. The existing sports facilities will be repurposed and renovated to create the Lafayette Parish Schools Sports Complex, a centralized sports complex in Lafayette Parish for Lafayette Parish schools. Ove Como High School will be renamed Ove Como Workforce Innovation Academy. The rezoning maps are attached to this item. Please note, by taking Ove Como High School offline, the district's general fund would have an estimated cost savings of $2,069,976.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion that the board approve taking Ove Como High School offline, beginning with the 26-27 school year, to begin renovation to repurpose the campus as outlined herein.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Ms. LeBeau and a second by Mr. Britt Latchley. Do we have any public comment?
My name is Shamika Senegal. I sit before you today in opposition to the agenda item proposed that W.D. and Mary Baker Smith Career Center be renamed the Ove Como Workforce Innovation Academy. I listened carefully previously to the discussion surrounding this proposal. One of the reasons given was the desire to preserve the legacy of Como, named because so many people have built a family and a tradition at Como High School. I respect the sentiment. Legacy does matter, history matters, community matters. Because of that, I decided to research Ove Como. What I found was a man who dedicated 40-plus years of service to the Lafayette Parish School Board. And that's an amazing accomplishment, and in some may even say worthy of recognition. His contributions to education in Lafayette Parish should absolutely be remembered and honored. But then I asked myself another question: what legacy are we removing in order to preserve another? When I researched W.D. Smith, I discovered a man who devoted more than 40 years of his life to educating kids in Lafayette Parish. He served as principal of Paulboro High School for 4 decades during one of the most difficult periods in American history, the Jim Crow era. This was a time when black schools received less funding, less resources, inferior facilities, and unequal opportunities. Yet despite those barriers, W.D. Smith continued to lead, educate, mentor, and advocate for students. He did not serve during easy times. He served during a period when providing equal education to black children required extraordinary perseverance, courage, and commitment. For many students who look like me, and for many of the constituents represented by the board today, educational opportunities exist because leaders like W.D. Smith refused to accept the limitations placed upon them and their communities. The name W.D. Smith and Mary Baker Smith Career Center is more than a name on a building. It is a reminder of the history that should never be forgotten, no matter what end of town it is brought to. Honors individuals who invested their lives into educating and uplifting people who were often denied equal opportunities. What concerns me is that the proposal represents what historians call supplanting of a legacy, the replacement of one person's legacy with another. Honoring one person's contributions should not require erasing someone else's contributions. We do not preserve history by replacing it. We preserve history by adding to it. If Ove Como deserves additional recognition, then let us find a way to honor this legacy without removing the names of W.D. Smith and Mary Baker Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Senegal. All right, next.
Good evening. My name is Kaya Bennett. The students have spent years growing up together are being split up and sent to 3 different schools. The friendship they have made, the teammates they have played with, and the clubs they have been part of will all be broken apart. Starting at a new school can already be scary. Now many students will have to leave their friends behind and try to fit in somewhere new. Some students may have a harder time getting the help they need from teachers because there will be so many more students in the classrooms. It may also be harder to join sports teams, clubs, and other activities. Ove Como High School is more than just a school to my family. My dad and both of my aunts graduated from Como. For years, I sat in the stands and watched my cousin cheer at games and dance in the gym. Last month, I got to watch her walk across the stage at the Cajun Dome as a proud Spartan graduate. That is what I always imagined for myself. I wanted to go to Como too. I wanted to be a Spartan just like my family. Now I don't know if that dream will ever happen. I know I'm only 12 years old, but this decision affects my future. Before you vote, I hope you think about the students who have dreamed of going to Como and the families who have been part of this school for generations. Please don't take this away from us. I hope you take the opportunity to choose greatness, choose kindness, and choose Spartans. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Bennett. Last week, many of us came before you with data, historical context, transportation calculations, enrollment figures, and alternative solutions. This decision is not being made because there are no other options. There is a zoning imbalance across the district. Programs could be added at Como. The Career Center has room to expand where it currently exists, and this proposal will disproportionately impact students and families across the district. Most importantly, you know the history behind the program. You are moving away from the North Side community. This is no longer a conversation about options, it's a conversation about legacy. Mr. Davidson, I want to show you my appreciation for choosing to be present to hear the community last week. You were appointed during an incredibly difficult and emotional process. Many question whether your appointment came with expectations. Tonight you represent the students and families in District 2 who would be directly impacted by this decision. I'm not asking you to vote a certain way, but I do ask that before this vote is cast, you utilize board comment time to discuss the impact this decision will have on Karen Crow High families. Mr. Boardroom, at a previous meeting, you said, "We have to plant seeds for shade we may never see." That statement stayed with me because tonight's decision is exactly that. This decision becomes what the future students will inherit. The question is, what are we planting today? Years from now, people won't remember the data discussed in these meetings. They will remember whether this board invested in a community or moved opportunities away from it. This is not just about buildings, it's about trust. When families continue losing schools and programs, instead of receiving investment, they lose faith in the system that is supposed to serve them. To the students you have shown more courage, composure, and leadership than many adults ever will. No matter what happens tonight, no one can take away the momentum that you built at Como High School. To the current retired educators, you are the reason the community found the courage to fight back. The values you taught are why so many refuse to stay silent. You are the heroes in this story. To my fellow trifling moms in the entire village I've met along the way, thank you for showing what can happen when a community comes together for something bigger than itself. And finally, to the board, what is happening on Orange Street is the work and vision of the educators, Paul Bro, William David Smith, Mary Baker Smith, and Edward J. Sam. No matter where that career center ends up, it will always be the legacy of what was created to overcome challenges that many of us will never understand. We are here today because of a pattern. We recognize that pattern, a pattern that created instability, less desirable facilities, and ultimately reduced enrollment at Como. I now realize this is the same pattern that our neighbors on the north side have been facing for decades. Tonight is not just a vote to shut down a school and remove another program from District 4. It's a choice to take the easy way out and follow the pattern that has been laid before you, or the choice to be the difference in LPSS, to start a new pattern that fosters growth and success through public education in all corners of our parish. This proposal is not a win. It's not your success story. Laying a new foundation and ultimately starting a new pattern, that is something to be admired. Please remember, once this vote is cast, this becomes part of your legacy. Thank you.
Forrest Chasson. I hope this doesn't fall upon deaf ears, but here it goes. I'm here this evening also to oppose the proposal to repurpose Como High School because of the far-reaching impact it would have not just on the students who attend, but also the ripple effects it would have on the north side of town as it relates to the relocation of the Career Center and E.J. Sam. I'm sorry. As I've watched LPSS make major decisions concerning the greater good of the school system, it's clear to me that it has almost always been at the expense of the north side of town. So I'm going to take a deep dive here. Take, for example, in the name of integration, LPSS chose to close the only black high school and bus the students further away from their neighborhood instead of vice versa. Then in the name of unitary status, LPSS chose to close 3 predominantly black schools instead of predominantly white schools, and again, bus the black kids further away from their neighborhoods, only to build a replacement school that the black kids who live right next to couldn't attend because it became a magnet school by way of lottery. A new NPMOS is built, only to be taken away after 3 years because of a threat of state takeover due to underperformance. And here we are today at another crossroads. In the name of balancing the budget, the Career Center and E.J. Sam is being taken away from the side of town, from those who use it the most by percentages. The disparities and inequities are glaring. Northside High School is a shell of its former self, while the Kenana High School gets a facelift. Lafayette High is reborn, and Southside is on the verge of expansion. The north side of town has become the killing fields for schools to achieve whatever so-called greater good LPSS sees fit. This is not delusion, but historical fact, as I've just laid out. I challenge anyone on this board to point out any school outside the north side of town that is no longer in operation. As school board members, you are supposed to be the voice and representation of the people. In all of the meetings that I've attended, I have yet to hear one person or a group of people from the public, for that matter, who supports this decision. It has virtually been unanimous by all of the public speakers that they and we do not want this. You have a fiduciary duty as school board members to respect and uphold the wishes of the majority, who have overwhelmingly stated that this is a bad idea that will detrimentally affect them and their children in the short and long term. The best solution, in my opinion, is to leave this high-performance school as is and relocate the funds for expansion at Como to the existing site at Paul Bro. I commend all of the faculty, students, and parents who are here tonight in opposition to this proposal, and I pray that if LPSS wants to regain the public trust and redeem itself, then the decision to not move forward would be a huge step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Just
Do you have anyone
Hannah,
else?
if I can, I just want to make a comment.
Okay.
I did close a school in my district. I did close a school in my district. SJ
S.J. Montgomery.
SJ Montgomery.
S.J. Montgomery doesn't exist.
Mr. Bill, a baseball field, the kids are not that far from where they go to school.
We,
All right, that's enough. If you gotta come to a mic. Do you want to have a conversation, Roddy? Okay. Sir, we can only speak into the mic.
You want to come back up and address his comment?
I will allow it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to follow protocol. Yes, Mr. Bergeron, and thank you for that comment.
Ma'am, if there are any outbursts from the crowd, you will be removed. Thank you. Mr.
Thank you, and I
Chasson.
respect the decorum.
Mr.
I'm sorry, I
Chasson,
apologize. Yes, sir, I understand that, but that's comparing apples to oranges. The school wasn't completely taken away from the neighborhood kids. They're like 2 or 3 blocks down the road. I'm talking about schools where these kids had to be bused further away from their neighborhood schools. So that's the comparison I was making. But thank you. All right.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Jennifer.
Good
State your
evening.
name, though, for everyone else. Thank you.
Good evening. Gemma Lefevre, and I'm speaking on behalf
Sorry,
of
Gemma.
Lafayette Parish Association of Educators in opposition to 5.1 as it is currently written. We believe the revitalization and expansion of the Career Center and the proposed closure of Como High are 2 separate issues that deserve 2 separate votes. Our association has heard from employees affected by the proposed school closure. They shared how this process has impacted them, their students, their colleagues, and the school community. The responses were overwhelming. We heard from educators who described feeling anxious, exhausted, heartbroken, and defeated. Employees who have dedicated decades of their lives to serving this district. Employees who are worried about their students, their futures, and whether anyone is truly being heard. One member wrote, "Many of us have become isolated to protect our own emotional state. The constant questioning of do you know is emotionally exhausting and has drained our physical well-being." And perhaps one of the most heartbreaking responses we received was this: "I retired today because of not knowing where I would be placed." These are not isolated feelings. These are voices of the people who have spent the last several months living with uncertainty while continuing to show up for students every single day. Today is June 11th. In less than 2 months, schools will reopen, yet many employees still do not know where they will be working, what classroom will be theirs, what students they will serve, or where they will report when school begins. And once those decisions are finally made, they will only have a matter of weeks to pack up entire classrooms, move years of instructional materials, rebuild learning environments, and prepare for the first day of school. And they'll do it during the summer without any compensation. They will do it, and they will do it, because that's what educators do. But their resilience should not be mistaken for absence of harm. Members spoke about anxiety, stress, burnout, and the toll of prolonged uncertainty that has taken on our employees, students, and families. They spoke about what they consider to be possible overcrowded classrooms, limited space, increased workloads, and concerns about whether or not the receiving schools will truly have the capacity to absorb the additional students while maintaining the level of support and attention that our students deserve. And let us be clear, this is not a decision that impacts only one school. The impact will not stop at the doors of the school being considered for closure. Students, educators, counselors, support staff, administrators, and programs will be dispersed. The effects of this decision will ripple throughout the entire district as receiving schools absorb additional students, staff, and responsibilities. This is not simply the closure of one school. It is a transformation that will affect every school community touched by the movement of students and employees. Human beings who have built relationships, traditions, and communities that simply cannot be packed into boxes and relocated over the next few weeks. We urge you to consider these 2 issues separately. Explore more options for the revitalization and the expansion of the Career Center, because long after tonight's meeting ends and long after the reports are filed and the votes are recorded, these employees, students, and families will still be living with the consequence of their decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gemma. Do we have any other public comment? All right, if we have anyone else, we do have 2 chairs. Thank you.
My name is Stephanie Gary, and I come to you before you for a 4th time to state my disgust with your treatment of certain schools and certain students. I strongly oppose your decision to close Como High and move W.D. Smith Career Center and E.J. Sam Accelerated out of the District 4 to further divest from the very community it was built for. My sons graduated from Ove Como 2011, 2015, and even back then it was apparent that the school board was ignoring the school, the students, and the needed maintenance. As I've witnessed the injustices to Como over the last 10-plus years since Southside's opening, I only wish that I would have started making noise back then. You have chosen to ignore issues to help Como, yet they have achieved success despite you. You instead choose to leave your legacy in Lafayette with questionable actions and not doing what is in the best interest for all students, regardless of race, class, or location. How you sleep at night is beyond me. While you choose to push your agenda and put students last, remember that you will answer for your part in this come Judgment Day. The bad decisions, the injustices and unfairness to all students, the special treatment given to certain schools but not to others. This is why the public has lost trust in you. This is why taxpayers question you. This is why bonds placed on ballots will not be approved. Have you thought any of this through? It sure doesn't seem like it. You're trying to erase history and legacy of certain schools. You have no fortitude to make hard choices and go against the clique to do the wrong, to right the wrongs that have been done. That would be the legacy to leave behind. It's sad that the legacy and hard work that previous board members put in is being negated by selfish people with personal agendas. You call this decision of yours progress? I disagree. You're moving Lafayette Parish schools backwards. What is your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan? You make short-sighted, quick decisions. What is the plan when Southside is even more overcrowded and they are the only public high school in the fastest-growing part of Lafayette? Is the big picture ever looked at? You never thought how negatively this would affect the juniors and put this on the agenda 2 months prior to the end of the school year. How they are affected by LHSAA eligibility, or how the scholarships they are working towards would be affected, or about their senior rings and Letterman jackets already been purchased for their 2027 school year and graduation. This is inexcusable and unforgivable. Poor planning, poor decision-making, and selfishness. Yet our students, our future, are the ones to suffer. Our student athletes suffer and cannot play their senior year because of you. You should be embarrassed by your actions, but your egos won't allow that. True politicians. I thought our school board members would be in office to do what is in true best interest of all students and the district as a whole, not to play politics. Kate LeBlue blames flooding on the school. I beg to differ. Flooding and pooling of rain is the city's problem. My parents live right there.
All right, next.
Good evening. My name is Amy Waters, and I'm an English teacher at Como High School. I'm opposed to the immediate closing and repurposing of our campus. I have lived and worked in Lafayette as a teacher for the past 8 years, with my previous 10 years of teaching being in Florida. I've taught in a lot of schools in that time, and have learned that there are 2 things you cannot clone: heart and culture. And that's what Como has in abundance: heart and culture. We are a strong, supportive school. In the 3 years I've been at Como, I have found a home and a family. I have found colleagues and administration and students that I can invest in. I feel the love and support of those same groups every day. And when you find that kind of environment, you protect it. And that's why I'm here today. The heart of any school is its students. And I've been privileged to teach and form bonds with some of the kindest, most motivated, genuinely empathetic students. Our Spartans support one another, lifting each other in both the good and bad times. This year, they started a group called Mo Friends, which work to ensure inclusivity on our campus. I've never been on a campus with so many hugs, high fives, and fist bumps. That's family, and that's the power of Spartans. I had the privilege of teaching dual enrollment English this past year. I fully attribute my success to the support of an admin team that saw in me the possibility of moving out of my comfort zone. And I'm so glad I did. I got to know a very talented group of seniors who amazed me both inside and outside the classroom. Those students, while taking multiple college-level courses and dealing with senioritis, still showed up for everyone on that campus. The graduating class of 2026 was the first group of students I taught at Como. Watching them move through their years and cross that stage was one of my greatest privileges. This past year, we went all in as a community. Our sports team proved that we have resilience and determination. Our literary rally students, ACT Work Keys champions, and dual enrollment and CLEP students proved that we can shine academically. Our cheerleaders kept their smiles, even at school board meetings where they were faced with disappointments. And our admin team, they lead by example, proving that it's not what you do, it's what you say. Dr. Adkins, Mr. Brower, Mr. Marks, and Ms. Folkard are the definition of grace under fire and the epitome of if you can dream it, we'll make it happen. So I ask you to consider the impact that future Spartans could have on our community. I ask you to consider other options that will keep our school open and allow us to continue proving our worth. We have something very special going on at Como. Students are not nameless test scores. We're a family that values the individuals who contribute to our culture. We are hugs, happiness, tears, support, and love. We are Spartans, and I will always be all in.
Thank you, Ms. Waters. Yes.
Hi, my name is Mason Danooks. I am a teacher and a coach at Como High School, and I just wanted to address some of the things that I think maybe people would have questions about. Most of the stuff is still in my classroom. I'm ready to teach at Como next year. I left it all there. I'm still coaching through this summer, so we're still getting our players ready for an upcoming season. And I'm not just one. I'm one of several who are still preparing for next year at Como. Just want to let you guys know that teachers, admin, we're prepared. We're ready to continue on teaching and coaching and continue to deliver what we have been delivering in the past, which is pretty amazing stuff coming from Como. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mason.
My name is Mark Bergeau. I've spoken to you at a few at the prior meetings, and I mean, chances are most of your decisions are already made. I'm not going to repeat the things that I've spoken about before. It's just think about, as it's been said by other people up here, think about the legacy of this board, think about the legacy of the schools in this parish. Think about what you're going to do before you make that final vote, because it may not be reversible once you make that decision. If you have any doubts deep down that you're not making the right decision, or feel that you're being influenced to make this decision, it may not be the right decision to make. Just think hard about that. And it was spoken about on the prior meeting that no schools in the parish were overcrowded. Yet, I know of at least 2 students, 8th grade students that move on to 9th grade this year, zoned for Como, that they were looking forward to go to the Fine Arts Academy at Como before it got moved to Lafayette. They, in the fall, before the March vote came about, they applied for the Fine Arts Academy at Lafayette High. They were both with a lot of honors at their current school that they just finished at. They were both denied from this school board, from the LPSS, with the reasoning being that Lafayette High is overcrowded and they need to keep those spots open in the Fine Arts Academy for students zoned to Lafayette High. Yet it was said by this board in a prior meeting that there is no schools overcrowded in Lafayette. So how can that be? And I trust the sources that I was told this from, because both parents said that that's what they were told. But again, just think about the legacy. We need to keep the Career Center on the north side for those kids. That's where it belongs. We need to keep the legacy of Como going and keep Como going, and I hope that the graduating class we had this year would not be the last one of Como High as we know it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bergeau. Do we have anyone else from the public who'd like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to board comment. Who would like to go first? We'll call for the vote.
No, I want to speak. I do want to speak.
Thank you, and I will speak after you.
All right. All right, first of all, I want to thank y'all for being here tonight. Thank you for the fight that you've had for Como High. I've always been taught you have to fight for what you believe in, and y'all have done an outstanding job for the meetings that we've had to continue to fight for your school, in which to me shows a great deal of respect for what you have at Como High School. So guys, congratulations on that. You've all known my thought process on this. You've all known how I felt since the get-go. When this conversation started 2 years ago about closing schools in the parish, I've always, as an educator, was always against closing a high-performing school. When this conversation started, Como High was an A school. It had over 700 students. As this conversation went, all righty, schools with less students, with lower rating, got a free ride. They have never been mentioned. We have not talked about closing any other schools except this one. So I will continue to support Como High. Since the onset of Southside, you have not been given an opportunity to be successful. You have not, bottom line. And you have had no one since that time to fight for you. And it showed. The building is not worthy of a high-performing school. It's not. Your kids have to go to school in conditions that do not warrant a good education, bottom line. The zones were put in place, did not work. A school with 2,100 students cannot dwindle that quickly if the zones would have been effective. You are not giving a feeder school. You had students zoned there, but you did not have a true feeder school. And it's the system that has basically failed Como High. And since this conversation has started, you still have not been given an opportunity to be successful. So I'm going to tell you, like I told you for the last 3 or 4 times we've had this, I can never support closing a school that is a high-performing school and show the fight that you've shown to keep your school open. So I applaud you for that. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Lejeune. I will agree with you that there have been many decisions that led to tonight. You know, this is the 5th time that we've had Como up. And I take no joy at all in making these kind of decisions. But I was elected, and everyone up here was elected to represent their district and make the best vote that they can. I do want to say that I admire the educators that have come out and fought for their school. It is wonderful to see people who truly support our students and our schools. I even appreciate the passionate perspectives that so many different people have shared. You know, it shows that Lafayette is very strong. I do want to say on the north side, we have built in the north side. You know, we can't deny that. You know, David Thibodeau became a STEM academy. The new Truman was built. I worked very hard with Elroy Broussard to make sure that the new Truman was built, to be on a better corner, to be in a better part that he wanted his community to have. So we can't deny that. We're even all currently working on the new K through 8, the new Paulboro, the new elementary middle school. I thought we were very excited about that for the north side. We can't deny that we've done that. You know, I've watched a lot of the historic videos and tried to remind myself how hard the north side has always had to fight. And I do believe that we have made progress in Lafayette Parish. You know, this board, in fact, added home zones to every magnet academy. David Thibodeau has a magnet academy, and the homes around David Thibodeau get to go there. Myrtle Place has a home zone. Our academies all have home zones. I thought it was very unfair that my school in my district, LJ Alamo, was one of the only magnet academies that had a home zone. But that was done, I don't know when that was done. It was done in the 80s, I'm not sure. I don't know why. Why would my school be the only one that has a home zone? So this board has made sure that our magnet academies, no matter where they are, have home zones. We have to continue to figure out ways that we can consolidate and pool our resources. You can't ignore what is happening in the national news or even in the state news. There is an attack on public education. And Lafayette Parish has been able to survive so far with closing just S.J. Montgomery and converting Lafayette Middle into Lafayette Elementary. And here we are at Como. If you read the news, if you listen to the news, you see that schools all over the nation are closing. We have to continue to work together. I heard comments tonight about not liking the name for Como. You know, that was donated by, the land was donated by the BO family, and they chose the name Ove Como. It was after a school board member. You know, there are many things, the land has, you know, the building has not been built, the vote has not been made tonight. But the names of buildings, I'm willing to meet with our community and try to come up with better names if it's the name that is the sticking point. So that was mentioned, I wanted to address that. All right, Madam Secretary, or Mr. Britt Latchley.
Only thing I gotta say is, I never represented Como. It's not in my district. We all know I'm Forest Green and Old Gold, Acadiana. 10 years ago, I said it. With the way the zones were structured, Como was dead. Okay, I said it. You know what I hate being sometimes? Right. I hate being right, but I was right. Even the gentleman who helped do the zones, you know, I know him very well. He's like, Britt, it's gonna work out. Well, it didn't. In 19, I brought, or was willing to bring in front of the board to rezone. I was gonna recommend Milton become the feeder school for Como and leave Southside. That was deferred, okay? I'm not stupid enough to believe that if I'd have brought it up again, it'd have passed. It wouldn't. I was right. Como suffered, okay? I tried to help, tried to fight. A lot of the people at Como would call me. Coach Doug Dotson was the head coach there. Ever heard of Bill Dotson Stadium? It's his daddy. We grew up together, asking me to help. I tried, ladies and gentlemen. I tried. Rezoning, I can tell you, that dog's dead. You cannot rezone anymore, and I'll tell you why. I'll look each of you in the eye and tell you why you can't rezone. Parents have choices. We can go and rezone Milton. Hell, I'll vote for it right now. They're not going to go to Como. They're going to go to charters. They're going to go to private. They're going to go somewhere else. There was a time, you know, I hear all the talk. I'm old. I remember when classes were taken from Lafayette High and sent to Acadiana. Kids played their junior and senior year in football at Acadiana. You rezoned, and that's just what you did. There was no grandfathering in. There was no rising this or rising that. Go. Hell, we took 8 of Lafayette High's starters, turned around and beat them in 1971, 13-7. Very first game I ever made. That's when I became a wrecking ram and started not liking the people on Congress Street back then. It's just the way they did it back then. Rezoning can no longer be a viable option in trying to save a school or just build enrollment. The bigger charter schools grow, and ladies and gentlemen, that's education for profit, okay? Your tax dollars, you got no say-so, and you don't elect anybody on their board. They're taking your tax dollars, and they're doing what they want with it, and they're doing it for profit. But they're shiny and they new, and that's fine, okay? Parents have options. So what do? You want a 5-year plan? I'll give you one. What do? The campuses in this parish, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be right again, in 10 to 15 years, you're gonna have closed schools in this parish. You're gonna have to start consolidating campuses, okay? ARCA closes, what do? 10 years from now, you build a wing at Southside. You build a wing here, you build a wing there. Texas has high schools with 3,000 to 5,000 students. We don't need the campuses. Pick up the paper today. Somebody go on the internet. St. Landry Parish, $28 million in debt. They're talking of maybe closing 10 to 15 schools. They've been trying to close Port Barry. Mr. Lejeune said it today. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. He grew up there for a short time. They liable to have to close Port Barry and send them to North Central. These conversations are not going to end, ladies and gentlemen. They're not. So please, don't think no matter how I vote, and I voted the same way twice, that I didn't try. Okay, please don't say we didn't care or we didn't look. I saw this coming, and I'm not happy at all that I was right. A lot of friends went to Como. Never had anything against that school, any school in this parish. But I can tell you right now, I won't be sitting up here because I only got 18 months left. I won't be sitting up here. You're going to be back in here with schools closing in this parish. I'm telling you right now. Get used to it because Broussard Charter's coming. So if Como doesn't close tonight, Como's closing. 392 students is down to now. It's closing. Broussard Charter will shut it down. Broussard Charter is going to most likely hurt Southside, ARCA. It's coming. Vermilion Charter, the high school is set to open for 9th grade. That's going to hurt the south side of Lafayette. It's going to hurt Vermilion Parish, North Vermilion. People from the Milton area are going to Vermilion Charter. We're trying to save public education. Sometimes it's not easy. This is not easy. And people get mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to say it again. The summer of 2027, you may qualify to run for the school board and sit up here and serve. I encourage you to do it. People think I say it to be a smart, like Justin said, you can't say it, Britt. But Britt tends to say what Britt wants to say. Step up. Hell, I'm going to leave here with 13 years. I stepped up for District 5. People get mad at me for what Acadiana has. Don't get mad at me. I fought. I'm getting a wing at Judy's. Took me 11 and a half years to get it. I fought for it. Don't fault me or blame me. But you're going to get to the point where you're only going to have 3 or 4 high schools in Lafayette Parish. Somebody that's young, remember what I said. And Lord, I hope I'm not right. But I got a strong feeling I'm going to be right. Unless we beat these charter schools. And parents, the only way to beat the charter schools and build these schools back up, look at the academic growth in this system. Let's stop looking at the negative. All we do is get beat up for the negative. We've got hardworking teachers that are busting, I'm not going to say that word again, okay? They're doing everything they can. Superintendent, we K-3 or what? The best #1 large school district in improving literacy. That ain't got nothing to do with any one of us up here. There's the teachers sitting out there that did that. Parents, get off of this charter school kick. Start sending your kids back to public school. Good things are happening in Lafayette Parish. We are good people being forced to make tough decisions. You blame us for not being fiscally responsible. When we try to be physically responsible, we're destroying everybody's world. You can't have it both ways, okay? You ask how we sleep at night. Sometimes not very well. I can look at you, and You need to understand, this is not easy to do, people. It's not. But we're entrusted with making decisions for the long-term stability of this school system. It is unfortunate that it affects people. Good, bad, or ugly. It affects people. Okay? Please don't think. But I'm going to be looking in the summer of 27, and I've heard a lot of names introduced right there. I'm going to see if they're on the ballot. Because if you want a voice, stand up and come be one of the 9. And I promise you, sitting here, looking there is a lot different sitting there, looking here. It is. It is. And I like your fight, because I'm a fighter. I don't mind fighting. And I fought for my district, and I attempted to fight for Como. And I'm sorry. It didn't work. And as far as the Career Center belongs to the parish. Okay? It belongs to 9 people. The Career Center belongs to all of us. Okay? The majority of the students are coming from different areas. Okay? You're centrally located, which I'm in favor of, opens it up to so many more students. Having it here compared to here doesn't hurt anybody. Okay, why remove the name WD and Mary Baker Smith? You don't. Why remove EJ Sam? I get it. I get it. Why remove the name MP Moss? We changed that name to Barranco. That didn't get any pushback, but we did it. We honored a great educator, but we removed the name of a family who donated the land for years. That didn't cause an uproar. I answered an email today, and I answer very few emails because people like to print them out and put them on posters. And look, some of that I do that just to antagonize y'all. Okay, I'm doing it just to fight back. I mean, look, we can go get a cup of coffee if you want after this. It doesn't, well, not a cup of coffee. If it could be a little something else, it doesn't matter. I do it just to poke, because that's how I am. Okay, I'm not a bad person. But I answered one today. Why? Okay, the Career Center moves. Why change the name WD and Baker Smith? Why? You don't. EJ Sam, you don't. So it's on the campus of Ove Como Workforce, I'm sorry, it's right, Workforce Innovation Academy. We don't want to erase anybody's memory or anybody's contribution. But centrally locating a career center that could possibly serve over 1,000 students or more and be state of the art is a great opportunity. And it's not taking it from one person and giving it to another. It's not. It belongs to all of us. Okay? And it's going to be great. But look, I just wanted to let y'all know, please don't think this is easy. It's not. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes.
I'm going to be much shorter, Madam President.
Okay.
Mr. Lachele, thank God. Mr. Lachele, you were right, and you were only right by accident. Mr. Hefner was right on paper. Those numbers back then were huge. And I'm only making that comment to tie it into something else. I want you guys, Mr. Lejeune and Mr. Lachele, to watch what's going to happen at Acadiana High once that development is finished. Those magic, what you call them? No, those magic.
Demography?
No, really funny. The documents that everybody's lying about where they live. Okay, those magic documents. Those magic affidavits are coming for Acadiana High, and that's what happened, y'all. That's what happened with Como got built. It wasn't because we over-rezoned it. That is nonsense. And you know what? All the documents are still alive. We need to pull them. What happened was people started jumping ship. I don't know why. I don't like it either, but that's what happened. and pay attention, because it's going to happen at Acadiana High as well. It's just a trend. It's something that people do. And so I'm sad about it, which is why I voted to build a building and move the performing arts. That was very unpopular at the time to do, but that was an attempt. You said you tried something, I did too. I wasn't on the board in 2019 when you brought up rezoning, but you and I both know that that would have, even if you rezone, all you're doing is wasting your time. So I guess that is absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct. I was on the board in 2019, but you never brought it up. It's wasting time, because now you're uprooting these kids, moving them here, to not uproot those kids and move them here, to find out it's not going to work, and not just hard believe it. Now, the intricacies about what's happening here, I'll admit I haven't had enough conversation with anyone about it, and so this is where we are, round 5.
Do we have any other board comment? Who's first? All right, Ms. Trahan.
I just want to say, like, since 2024, when it first came up, I was one of the 5 that said I was opposing the voting of Como to close, and I still stand that same way. But I also stand on the fact that the Career Center, Paulboro, and E.J. Sam to still be located right there in District 4. I understand that the growth needs to happen, but I know that it's going to be a 2-year project. To, either which way it goes, 2 years to get the K through 8 done, so that they can still move the Paulboro, empty Paulboro campus, merge that into the E.J. Sam and the Career Center, and just work that way like that. If you can find money for that. And I also want to just put that out, that a few people stopped me in the community about the money that a former school board member, Dr. Timothy Sancho, had allocated for Northside. And I just want the community to know that you can't bond out one-time money. It was one-time money that was allocated for that. And in order to have a bond or some type of money to be done, it have to be a reoccurring fund. So they do have money earmarked, but it's not be enough to make a bill for Northside. It can do some improvements, but Northside need more than the money that's allocated to do the remodel at Northside and get Northside the way it's supposed to be.
All right, thank you. Ms. Trahan?
Thank you, Madam President. So a few comments, and apologies up front, because I know I'm going to be long. So just in response to other comments, so District 4, yes, District 4 has had investments in it throughout the years. However, I want to point out a few things. David Thibodeau STEM Academy in District 4 became an academy because the old NP Moss was closed down due to failing. The school was failing. That's why we then received a academy school in District 4. One important point is that home zones for the neighborhood students was not an original and automatic thing. So students weren't given an automatic home zone for those students at David Thibodeau STEM Academy. The new Truman, yes, the new Truman in District 4, it's beautiful, wonderful. If you all haven't gone, please go and see it, because it is beautiful. But the district didn't foot that money. Those were federal dollars that paid for that school to be built. So even though we have a beautiful new school in District 3, Truman, yes, it is wonderful, but the district, those were federal dollars that the district paid, that the district received to build that school. So a new school like K through 8, we used ESSER funds, I believe is what they were for the Truman School. Yes, yes. Okay, so those were federal. Those were not our district school board approved dollars to build a new school. The new K-8 school, I have said this multiple times, new elementary and middle school, wonderful investment for North Lafayette, in particular District 4, and I thank all my fellow board members for supporting that. That is wonderful because there's been decades of disinvestment in District 4. So I have to make that point very, very clearly. You know, when we talk about what do we do with schools in our parish, campuses in our parish, that we may in future years see that we may have to look at closing some schools or what have you. We have a facilities planning committee. I think that's what it's called now. That's where the discussion should originate. This discussion should originate in regards to our schools within our facilities planning committee, so that our facilities planning committee, which those committee meetings are open to the public, can then come, hear what the discussion is, provide input, and there can be an ongoing discussion with that. I also mentioned multiple times that for something of this magnitude, I would love to see that our board would actually take some time, like a full board would take some time to truly have a board workshop to talk about and discuss what those facility plans, future plans will look like at the lead of our facilities planning committee. So this is something that, as a collective board, we have not had an opportunity to actually sit and talk and really have a full-on discussion in regards to that. Career Center is centrally located. It is centrally located. There's been so much data provided in terms of the central location of where the Career Center currently resides. And the Career Center is for the community, along with the 9 people that's up here that represents you all as our constituents. It is for us, the community, all of us, because we as school board members, we are part of the community. So with that said, where it sits is such a historic site, right? And the name does matter. It does matter. And when NP Moss was changed to Barranco, the family that the school was named after, that family too did have some, feelings toward that. Of course you would have feelings regarding that. So it's not that there was nothing said. And I know a family member, the Moss family, I know a family member very well, and they did take that to heart. So it is something that the community would take to heart, because it's taking our legacy and just like pushing it to the side. And so that is something that is very, very important. And when we say, I just have written so many notes here that, don't get mad at us as school board members for some of our schools, what maybe some of our other school board members have in their district. And I have nothing against any high schools, and in particular, this high school, because Acadiana High, yes, Acadiana High has lots of things. I am a graduate of Acadiana High, so I would not want to take anything away from Acadiana High, nor would I want to take anything away from any other high school or school in the district. But I would just want Northside High to have a fraction of the things that Acadiana High has, just a fraction of the things Acadiana High has. And so when we look at all of this and we talk about North Lafayette community, in particular District 4, where the Career Center resides, we have seen a lot of good, bad, and ugly dealing with this. And I continue to say, let's look at what's good for all of the students in our district. And is this the right thing to do, to be removing the Career Center, yet again, a jewel, a gem, something that is really worthy of having it for the whole parish, the whole school system, out of District 4. And it just doesn't make sense. None of the data makes sense. So when I sit up here and listen to you all as community members and my fellow board members speak on the agenda topic, I just really, pause for a moment. I continue to try to be respectful to everyone, but I have to comment on many of the things and also I want to make one final comment before I propose a substitute motion. And that final comment is that, you know, when we talk about rezoning, I am a new board member. I have never been involved in a rezoning. But we can agree to disagree regarding things. But we have to get to the first step, first base, right? Like actually home plate, just to get there, to even start the conversation about all of the things that we think we foresee coming down the pipe for the school system as a whole. And I feel like we just haven't done that as a school board collectively. And that's why I continue to say, why don't we meet and have workshops for very important things like this, that is not just a moment in time right now. This is for years and years to come. And yet we are pressing forward in the summertime, just when there are so many other things that families, parents are doing during the summer, teachers are trying to breathe and relax, and here we are yet again in regards to this. So I've heard people say this, I don't have a dog in the fight. I may not have children in Lafayette Parish school system anymore, but I will always have a dog in the fight, because there are children who we should be looking at equitably across the board. So I will always have a dog in the fight for this. With that said, I would like to propose a substitute motion. I'm not sure if any other board members have any comments, if that has to be spoken before, but I'd like to propose a substitute motion that we table agenda item 5.1 pending thorough review of facility planning and a full board workshop with the facility committee, coupled with expanding additional programs to move into the Paul Bro Middle School complex that will be vacated at the next half of the next school year. That's my motion.
I second it, Ms. Amy.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Trahan and a second by Mr. Josh Edmond. Do we have any public comment? No, sorry.
You don't have to go back.
Oh, I don't have to go back? Okay, it's the same thing. All right, Madam Secretary, I call for the vote. It's a substitute motion, so we don't have to go back to the public because it's still underneath. I'm going by the advice of our attorney here.
It's the same item.
It's the same item. All right, Madam Secretary, I call for the vote on the substitute motion.
Ms. Trahan?
Yes.
Ms. LeBeau?
No.
Ms. Mason?
No.
Mr. Lachele?
No.
Mr. Hidalgo?
Yes.
Mr. Bergeron?
No.
Mr. Edmond?
Yes.
Mr. Lejeune?
No.
Mr. Davidson?
No.
3 for, 6 against, motion fails.
Thank you. We're going to return to the vote for the original motion. Madam Secretary, I call for the vote.
Hold on. Before we do that, I didn't have public comment.
Wait.
Sorry.
No. No.
I didn't have comment yet. I have not said. Yeah,
Okay,
board
hold
comment.
on. We're going to follow proper procedure. So,
It's still on the
Mr.
floor.
Attorney,
The item's still on the floor, so if he wants
but
public,
we've already closed.
he can't have
comment.
public comment, he can have board member comment.
You sure?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Bergeron?
All right. So here. I agree with Mr. Lachele. There's no easy decisions here. There's never going to be an easy decision. When we got on the board, though, when it comes to rezoning for Como, when we got on the board February 2024, we rezoned 300 students from Lafayette High School to Northside High. 18 kids went to Northside. 288 went either stayed in Lafayette High because we allowed them to stay, or they went to charter schools, or they went somewhere else. Like rezoning, in the little bit experience that I've had with rezoning, doesn't seem to work. It's a shame. Lafayette High, I rezoned Lafayette High because I knew we were going to get an influx of students with a new building, and I knew we were going to have to make some room for them. But again, did I get angry emails about it? Yeah, but it needed to be done. So when we talk about what's the plan for Como High, I mean, I propose, if you go back to the May 2025 meeting, I propose that there be no zone for Como. The downside of that is where we're going to pull students from. The possibility is that it takes a hit on Northside High. Couldn't do that, right? Like, I didn't feel good about putting that on the agenda if it's going to affect Northside High potentially. We talked about, what else? We talked about rezoning. I haven't seen another solution to how do you fix the population at Como. We could try rezoning, but again, we're gonna have to rezone a large swath of people. I would say at least 800 students probably to have an actual an actual impact on the population at Como, because they're gonna go to charter schools and they're gonna want to stay there because it's their senior year, their junior year, and we're gonna give allowances for that. And again, I don't think that's gonna be the silver bullet. And again, we're gonna have 100-something angry parents back in here again. So it just doesn't seem like what I feel like we haven't had a real good solution, and I haven't found one yet on like what do we do, because the population is going to continue to drop. It's been dropping since before we were on the board, since before I was on the board, and I don't see us ever fixing that. When it comes down to the Career Center, there was an article that came out last week about Karen Crow's population growing. I have proposed, and I've talked to some of my fellow board members about why don't we have more than one Career Center? I don't know why we have to have one. Why do we have to have one Career Center? There can be a Career Center on the north side, and there can be a Career Center on the south side, because the south side has the same issues that the north side has with charter school stealing population. We know that Karen Crow High is growing. We can better serve certain populations, but we have to also be cognizant of the fact that we are in competition with charter schools, and we do have a growing population on the south side that we need to try and figure out as well. Doesn't mean that we take from one district to give to another. I believe, and I firmly believe this, based on what the state's doing, and based on what we're seeing in projections for middle schoolers who do not want to go to college, four-year colleges anymore, trades are going to be more important than ever. I don't think 1,000 seats at Como High is going to be enough. I believe that if we can work out a plan to have 2 career centers, and we can do whatever we want. They can be unique career trades at one school versus the other. We can have the same trades if they're popular at both schools. We can figure that out. But I don't know why we only think we need 1 career center. We have 2 arts academies in elementary school. We have 2 pre-K programs. I don't see why we can't have 2. And it doesn't mean taking away from one. It means we just need to reinvest. And I'm going to ask my fellow board members, and I'm not going to make a substitute motion, but I'm going to ask you guys to keep an open mind about it, because it is going to cost money. It's going to cost money. Well, we're going to find it. We always do. Like Justin said, if you shake the tree hard, the coconut tree hard enough, the coconut's going to fall out of it. I think we can. Well, we need to put our minds together and figure it out. So again, y'all know how I feel about the situation. I don't feel like, again, when it comes down to LHSA, I emailed them about allowing students to not have to sit out a year. I got 0 responses from the LHSAA about it. They did not take me up on my offer. They can still answer. They can still respond. Come on. But again, like I have tried, and I really don't know, because I've got parents calling me and asking me about sports, and they have kids who have scholarships, and they have to sit out a year. And again, if we make no decision, we're in this boat where those students may not have opportunities to play sports next year, and that's part of their high school experience. And you have to weigh so many different things. It is never an easy decision, and there's always going to be ups and downs to it. And I don't fault my board members for the way they vote. I've never done it. We all vote based on how we feel and what we think is the best move. I don't know what the answer is for it. I don't know what the answer is for Como, and I've tried. I don't know what to say anymore about it. Like, we've been talking about this, it feels like almost for 2 years now.
It is.
And since September, I think September of October of 2024, maybe even before that.
It was during the summer of 24.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know what else to do. And it's a tough decision. And like I always tell people, like, I don't walk into a board meeting knowing what I'm going to vote for sometimes, and this is one of them. I don't know. So, Anybody has a public comment, board comment, please feel free to do so.
I'd like to add.
I have
No,
another
I would like to
comment,
take the privilege to speak. Mr. Han, I'm listening to your comments, and I will commit to trying to find a time that we can meet, that we can find a time that we've got to get the facilities committee to meet. I feel like most of our public doesn't know exactly how our career center works. Usually the children are taking the first and second year classes at their home school, their home base, and then they're moving to our career center for further development. So every high school has some capacity to offer training in the trades. And, of all the reasons, there were so many reasons with the building failing at Paulboro, and our facilities are failing. They're old. They've lived out their life. But, Ms. Trahan, I want you to know that I would like for you to arrange a date and a time that we can meet and talk about these needs on the north side specifically. I think once we get to a board meeting, it is a little bit too late to sit here and try to maneuver things. We've got to put dollars together. We've got to put different plans. We've got to pull in different staff, not on the board floor. So I will commit to making sure that our facilities committee is going to meet, and I would love for you to bring all of your ideas. Let's get everyone on staff in the room to figure out how we could move forward to creating a better career path in the trades on the north side.
Thank
Oh,
you.
okay, I'm sorry. And Ms. Trahan, Ms. Trahan has the floor at the moment, Mr. Ted, and then you can be next.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. The reasons the building's failing at Paulboro, because there's been such disinvestment over decades, that's why the building is failing at Paulboro. And I actually have a second substitute motion, and I would have preferred not to go this route for a second substitute motion. However, as an attempt to save something that appears to be not all inclusive of the board wanting to keep schools open or career center where it currently is. Just like every other board member on this floor, on this dais, I'm always fighting for District 4, as well as fighting for all the students in our district. So my second substitute motion is that we maintain the current Career Center open at its current site and add additional programs at the Paulboro Middle site. And we look at developing a phase out of Como High through the 28-29 school year, which would allow the freshmen that are rising sophomores, to actually go through their senior year at Como High. And upon offlining at that time, turn the Como High site to the LPSS sports complex.
Do I have a second? Mr. Edmond has the second for Ms. Trahan's motion. Madam Secretary, I call for the vote. We're voting on the second substitute motion by Ms. Trahan. Yeah.
Mr. Lejeune?
No.
Mr. Davidson?
No.
Mr. Bergeron?
No.
Mr. Edmond,
Yes.
Mr. Hidalgo,
No.
Ms. Trahan,
Yes.
Ms. LeBou,
No.
Ms. Mason,
No.
and Mr. Lachele.
No.
2 for, 7 against, motion fails.
All right. Mr. Davison, you've been very patient. Would you like to speak on the original motion? Do you want to speak on the original motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Make sure your mic is on. There you
Okay,
go.
I got it. Let me explain, of course, my lack of, some of y'all talked about my lack of comments and my lack of questions. I'm kind of new here at the board, and I'm kind of taking everything all in. I'm trying to wrap my mind around all this and to get a feel for it. I too, like Mr. Lejeune, I feel for the Como people. I greatly respect and applaud your passion and your love for your school. And I know, whatever occurs will, you have fought the good fight. Second thing, I like what Roddy, Mr. Bergeron has talked about, possibly a second VOTEC. I'm a big proponent of VOTEC. I believe it's probably it's the future of public education. It can be expanded through robotics and AI, and there's right now, little Johnny can't go through 4 years of high school and graduate and go out and get a good paying job. That's just not the way things are anymore. And, there's got to be a good bit of VOTEC consideration whenever decisions are made. The sooner we get to moving on VOTEC, the better. It's one area that public schools here in Lafayette have over the charter schools. There is very little VOTEC in charter schools, and we have a very good VOTEC program, then we can get I think we can get a head up on the charter schools. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Davison. Yes, Mr. Britt Latchley?
Lord knows I can't unsay it, but I've heard it too many times, and I've got to ask a question. And this is not to be disrespectful, this is not to be a jerk, and this is not to be an idiot, because I've sat on this board for 11 and a half years. I don't remember ever voting no to not invest in District 4. District 5 has gotten everything District 5 has gotten, because District 5 is represented by a loudmouth who will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. For my first 2 terms, was District 4 not represented by somebody? District 4 had representatives on the board. If it was not brought up, and this is not me trying to be disrespectful, it's just trying to grasp, if things weren't brought to us to better, I mean, we put $4 million aside without a problem because stuff needed to be done. That money sat for 6 or 7 years. I would have never not voted to not invest, but I ask, was District 4, was there a representative sitting up here? And we're very good friends. If it's not brought to the board floor, it can't be voted on. So let's not say a board didn't invest in something. Let's say it was not brought to the board. Ideas were not brought to the board. Expansion was not brought to the board. The whole time, I'm bringing stuff to the board. I'm doing my job working for my district. So let's not word it that way, like we didn't do our job. That's all I'm asking. It's making it sound like we're just a bunch of haters of a section of town. We're not. It wasn't brought to us, so
Do you want me to reply to that?
no. But you can, but
I'm going to reply to
no, but what I'm saying is you brought up.
Because we're
Hey,
neighbors, right?
Yeah, no, but hold on.
We're neighbors.
Look, we're Acadiana graduates, girl.
Right.
Okay, here, look, I'm gonna bring this up.
Northside Viking now.
You do realize, you remember I wasn't supposed to be here for a meeting? And I showed up to vote for the K-8 to show support for you.
And you realize how I have over and overstated
Yep.
the board. And,
Yep.
and that's
But what I'm
that will
saying,
always be.
Ms. Trahan, is you
I
had,
appreciate the conversation,
But listen.
but
you
the
had-
comments,
you had a representative.
the comments are
I'm not
supposed,
Dr. Chasson, though.
I appreciate the conversation, but the comments are supposed to be directed to the chair. If y'all need to have a conversation, you can have it after the meeting. Thank you. Madam Secretary, I call for the vote.
Ms. Mason?
Hold on, remind.
Yes.
Let me remind us.
Okay, the motion that you're voting on now, that I'm calling for the vote, is that the board approve taking Ove Como High School offline, beginning with the 2026-27 school year, to begin renovations to repurpose the campus as outlined.
Thank you. Yes.
Ms. LeBou?
Yes.
Mr. Lachele?
Yes.
Mr. Hidalgo?
No.
Mr. Bergeron?
Yes.
Mr. Edmond?
No.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Lejeune?
No.
And Ms. Trahan?
Absolutely not.
The vote is 5 for, 4 against, motion carries.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a short recess so everyone can regroup. We'll come back at 7:15. All right, call this meeting to order. We're going to return to the consent agenda. I'm going to go through and read each item, and if a board member wants something pulled, please do so after I read it. The consent agenda. All right, item 4.1, discussion and/or action concerning the 2026-2027 pupil progression plan. Item 4.2, discussion and/or action concerning resolution 06-026-2180, official journal for Lafayette Parish School Board. Item 4.3, discussion and/or action concerning the proposed revisions to job descriptions related thereto. Item 4.4, discussion and/or action concerning an adjustment to the 2026-2027 salary schedule. Item 4.5, discussion and/or action regarding the fire alarm inspections, testing and monitoring services, sprinkler system inspections and testing services, kitchen hood inspections, and fire extinguisher inspections. Item 4.6, discussion and/or action concerning a servitude agreement with the City of Lafayette. Item 4.7, discussion and/or action for the purchase of a new server within the Capital Improvement Fund. Item 4.8, discussion and/or action concerning revision to policy DJED, bids and quotations. Item 4.6, discussion and/or action concerning the June budget to actual revisions for fiscal year 25-26. Item 4.10, discussion and/or action regarding the voluntary benefits request for proposal.
Pulled it.
Okay, thank you. David Lejeune. It doesn't matter. Okay, I have David. He's nearest. It doesn't matter. 4.11, discussion and/or action regarding the Well-Right Wellness Program. Item 4.12, discussion and/or action concerning consultant recommendations for property and casualty insurance coverages, including student coverages for the 2026-27 fiscal year and authorization to put broker agreements in place.
Pull it.
All right, just Jeremy for that one. All right, item 4.13, discussion and/or action concerning compensation to school bus owners, operators for insurance. Item 4.14, discussion and/or action concerning the minutes of May 14th, 2026 and June 2nd, 2026. Item 4.15, approval of all action consent items.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve all items not pulled.
Second.
All right, thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Lashley, second by Mr. Roddy Bajeron. Madam Secretary, I call, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
On the items that have not.
Okay, we're going to have public comment on the items that were not pulled. Do we have any? Just state your name and which item you're speaking on, please.
My name is Sarah Bennett. I think the agenda item changed because y'all had removed it, but it was 4.6. My name is Sarah Bennett. I would like to ask for additional clarification regarding the proposed permanent utility servitude at Lafayette High School. When I looked over this, as I understood it, this agreement would grant the City of Lafayette permanent rights to use portions of school property for utilities. While I understand the importance of infrastructure, I believe it is important for the public to fully understand the long-term impact of granting a permanent property right on school-owned land. I respectfully ask the board to clarify the following. Why is permanent servitude necessary instead of a limited term agreement? What specific utility project requires this servitude, and what public benefit will it provide to Lafayette High School and its students? What compensation, if any, is the Lafayette Parish School System receiving in exchange for granting these permanent rights? How much school property is affected by this agreement? Will this servitude limit future expansion, construction, or improvements at Lafayette High School? And has the district reviewed any current or future building plans to determine whether this permanent restriction could impact future growth of the campus? As stewards of public property, I believe it is important that we fully understand what rights are being granted, what benefits are being received, and whether this decision could affect future generations of students. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment? All right, seeing none, do we have any board comment on any item not
Nope.
pulled?
Oh, go ahead, David.
Oh.
No.
Okay, Mr. Roddy.
Mrs. Superintendent, can you give some more information about why we do servitudes with the city?
I'm going to yield to Mr. Darren Hughes if he can come up and talk about the servitude.
Oh, put him on the spot. Thought this was going to be an easy night, Darren.
Oh, Darren Hughes, Director of Expansion and Development. The servitude is the final plot with all easements and like electrical, okay, closer.
Yeah, make sure you're at the
So
microphone. Thank you.
electrical, it has all the underground lines, electrical, plumbing. It shows the property lines. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know
how many feet we giving the city from the road? 25?
I don't remember offhand.
But that's for utilities, right? This is pretty
Right,
common,
yeah,
you
it's
know.
all utilities, all the underground.
And this is along Susan and Marie Antoinette?
Yes,
Okay.
all
right.
It's all of them off of Marie Antoinette, Foreman, I guess what's that, I guess Susan and Congress.
Okay, all right. So all four sides, we do?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right.
Okay.
So it's water, electricity, sewage?
Water, electricity, sewage, yep.
Cable?
Yep, cable, everything.
LUS fiber, the whole works? Got you. All right, appreciate you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hughes. All right, do we have any other board comment? Sorry, Mr. Oh, were you pointing? Okay.
I do.
Mr. David, thank you.
Mr. Touchette, may I ask Ms. Trish on the Insurance Committee to come up, please?
Yeah, Ms. LaBeouf.
These are items not pulled, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Can you kind of explain, I know we talked about it in the Insurance Committee meeting for those people that were not in there. Could you kind of explain the wellness program that we're trying to pass tonight?
We currently do not have an existing wellness program this year. We have been vetting that program. Essentially, we're looking for a holistic program that brings both health and your wellness to our employees. We want to totally revamp the program. Previously, that program included a $250 deductible applied. If the member worked through the program, then they could receive that deductible credit. So we want to completely revamp it. This right here that you would be voting on this evening is essentially a new wellness program to which we would evaluate it. They would allow them to enter their information into the system. We would need to work through those processes moving forward to see what that new program would be. But essentially, it's, I've lost my train of thought, Mr. Lejeune, I apologize. I'm having issues coughing this evening and I've lost my train of thought. Essentially, it's a new program for our employees and our retirees, our pre-65 members. We would eventually develop that program. It would be effective January 1st of 2027. And it's essentially a holistic program. We would work with our consultant, Gallagher, in order to work through that process as to what that exactly looks like. We haven't gotten to that place. We wanted the board to review what we have before you, and then we would take those next steps and work with leadership.
And who's eligible for this?
It is your active employees, their spouses, and pre-65 members and their spouses.
But not people on,
No, sir, no members under Medicare. Our Medicare members do get other incentives. The district pays for their $1,200 deductible because Medicare pays primary. So it would not apply to our Medicare members because Medicare pays first.
So why can't they be eligible for it?
It's not that they cannot, it's just that it wasn't part of the proposal that we worked through with Gallagher. We worked through the proposal with active employees and their eligible spouses to include pre-65 members. Medicare pays primary in those instances, so a large majority of those claims, 80% of those claims are covered under Medicare, whereas the other 20% is covered by the Meritain Aetna portion of your plan.
But they do pay in the Meritain, right?
They do pay a premium for their group health insurance, yes, sir, they do.
So there's no way we can get them on that? I mean, don't you think these people need that? I mean, that's the ones that are more susceptible to anything else at this point.
No, they do. We don't want to discourage them from continuing to see their primary care physician. We don't want to discourage them from taking part in the wellness incentive. But they just wouldn't be eligible for whatever that program would look like effective January 1st of 27.
So is there any way we can look into them being eligible for it?
We could. That wasn't part of the piece that went to the board insurance committee and was made as a recommendation to the board, but it could be looked at. You're paying, so based on the costs that were associated with this wellness program, it was $1.85 per employee per month. Your cost would increase if you were going to include those retirees of the district who have Medicare. Roughly, there's over 2,000 members. So they were quoting prices based on the current membership at the $1.85. That portion was built into your budget for the 26-27 fiscal year.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Hidalgo. Does Ms. LaBeouf need to stay, or?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Okay, thank you.
No, this is on 4.4. I just want to commend the superintendent and his team for part of what they've done here to true up the law enforcement pay for security in the district. I'm thankful, and I know that law enforcement will be very thankful because it's been very, well, I guess we've been competitive because we've been the lowest for a long time. So thank you for truing that up and putting that forth.
All right. Oh, you have one? Ms. LeBeau.
Oh, I just want to tell the board that I hope they support the 4.13, the advancement of insurance for our bus owner operators. These are the people that own their buses. This is their business. They're some of our most dedicated and committed bus drivers. So I'm glad to see that we can help them offset some of the incredible expenses it is to own and operate your bus. And also I want to commend Laura Smith. She goes by Smitty Smith. Who is one of our owner-operator bus drivers. She has been appointed as vice president of the Bus Drivers Association statewide. So it's great to have a Lafayette Parish owner-operator out there advocating to bring more people to the profession and keep the profession strong. So thank you for all your work.
All right, seeing no further comment, Madam Secretary, I call for the vote.
Mr. Lachele?
Yes.
Ms. Trahan?
Yes.
Ms. LeBeau?
Yes.
Ms. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Hidalgo?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Edmond?
Yes.
Mr. Bergeron?
Yes.
9 for, none against. Motion carries.
Thank you. We're moving on to items that were pulled. All right, first we have item 4. I'm sorry, I lost track. 10? Okay. Yes, item 4.10, Mr. Lejeune.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to make a motion that we discuss that the board give the superintendent authority to direct staff to initiate a request for proposal for voluntary benefits adhering to the timeline and specifications outlined in the 1.1 calendar event section.
Second.
All right, thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item?
My name's Len Fontaine with Hub International. Just here to give some information on this item here. 3 years ago, when we were awarded this business, we know we had a tall order. Administration was very pleased with the plan, and we had to really do a lot of work in a short period of time. All those benefits needed to be marketed, systems needed to be built, and we needed to be ready for open enrollment come 1/1. We checked all those boxes. Not only did we do that, we handled the dental crisis. At that particular time, Aflac was the dental carrier. Things were in crisis. Benefits weren't being paid. People couldn't see the dentist. We not only resolved that particular dental plan had 100.8% loss ratio, meaning that the claims were in excess of the premium. We were able to negotiate a no-cost increase with increased benefits for both LASIK and hearing benefits. That saved the system several $100,000. Coverages for vision, short-term, long-term disability, hospital indemnity, critical illness, universal life, all received rate decreases with significant benefit increases. So benefits went up, costs went down. Your life insurance at that time had 143% loss ratio. So for every dollar that we sent them, they paid out $1.43. We were really upside down. Initial increase was 23%. We negotiated it down to 15%, saving the system about $85,000. We've also negotiated, because of the timeline that we're facing right now, we're working on 1/1/27 benefits. We're your incumbent provider here. So I'm pleased to say that we've negotiated a no-cost increase for 1/1/27 on your life insurance. I've been around here for a little bit. I don't think y'all have ever heard of a no-cost increase on your life insurance. Your life insurance is going up each and every time the contract's expired. Administration, service, technology, all significantly improved. So we're finalizing our work right now, and we have no cost increase. We have cost decreases to deliver to you, and at the same time, y'all are looking to go out to bid.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Brooke Brune. I'm an employee benefit consultant with Hub International, and I've had the pleasure of working with you guys since Hub and AGM got this contract in 2024. I just want to mention this is not just an open enrollment job. It's not just a one point in time job. This is a year-round administrative infrastructure. While open enrollment is a visible moment in time, the work that occurs behind the scenes is continuous throughout the year. With, as Lynn mentioned, the work has already been done for 1/1/27 and ready to present with open enrollment in short order. It's not just a voluntary benefit coverage program. It's how we enroll it, administer it. It's the employee experience as we work together day to day for open enrollment, new hires, and life events throughout the year. The continuous work behind the scenes includes system building, testing, payroll, carrier file integrity and integration, ongoing employee support, audits, corrections, monthly billing reconciliation, life event management, compliance, and reporting. It's not just paying for enrollment, we're funding an operational stability for the school system. It was mentioned a few meetings ago that why are we still enrolling on paper? We're not enrolling on paper. This is an online enrollment platform. The benefits are enrolled in a system called Celerix. It's an electronic enrollment system designed to handle the full enrollment ecosystem while enrolling in the voluntary benefit offering. The electronic enrollment system provides for greater visibility, accuracy, and support. Hub and AGM have provided superior service, placed all voluntary lines of coverage with superior carriers and enhanced benefits since inception, withholding rates competitive to market since inception. Hub and AGM have been in the market for quite a while and are prepared for open enrollment, which is going to start in about a month. In about a month, guys, and we're ready to go. At the end of the day, the question is, what experience do your employees, retirees have? They have a great experience. We've surveyed them with 99% accuracy in the survey. They were satisfied with our program. We're giving them a simpler way to make decisions, faster and complete resolution of issues that come up. We have better participation and outcomes for the employees, and much less strain on your internal team. This is a huge benefit build process, and we've worked seamlessly with the Lafayette Parish School System Benefits Department. We meet with them regularly. The entire team's fully engaged, LPSS, Hub, and AGM. We've implemented a smooth and seamless process, and we'd like to continue that through our contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment? I was like, wow, there's a big line. Yeah. If anyone else needs to leave, please feel free to leave.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Dodge. I'm previously the owner of AGM, now managing partner. After the last meeting, there was a couple things unsaid, and I think the team, Brooke, did a really good job explaining. Like the comment was, we just see you during open enrollment, there's nothing else going on. Right there, obviously, tells me that individual doesn't fully understand the full scope. It's not their fault, because there's so much behind the scenes that our team does to support. I mean, the relationship started with Trish, and she's smiling because obviously I know how the relationship is today. The biggest concern is timeline. But before I get into that, I just want you to know a little bit about my background. Both parents are teachers. A lot of times I work in the private sector and public sector. I am still a teacher in the light because I own a employee benefit enrollment firm, right? And as we all know, there's significant capital that's invested in these decisions. And in the end, if an employee goes home, a teacher goes home, a janitor goes home, and doesn't fully understand their benefits, we waste a lot of time and money. And so we built a firm in Louisiana. I know a big part of the last one was local. Half our enrollers are actually in your parish here. And we intentionally were doing that. So we are the largest employee benefit communication firm housed in Louisiana, and it was all based on making sure employees are able to bring that education home so they can fully take advantage of the benefits. I have a little bit more passion right now. I'm actually going home to relieve my son from the hospital because he's been in the NICU for 5 weeks. And me personally, as somebody in this space, I know how to navigate that. I know for a fact majority of your employees without help don't, right? And so we are teachers of them. The resources across the board, I'm just gonna list it. I don't wanna be Vanna White, but I'm just gonna run this off because a product of an accident plan is very important. But I can tell you anybody in the market, Hub brought us in, we work with all the major players in Louisiana, they all are shopping the same carriers, right? So the type of product will be beneficial, it will be competitive, but it's the team behind the scenes that's gonna be providing the resources. So from Section 125 to cafeteria plans to FSA administration, to COBRA administration, including premium remittance and carriers and third-party administration, employee benefit guides, news flyers, postcards. The new benefit app was launched last year, including your entire benefits landing page. Celerix is housed by my team. I actually bought a company that specializes in that. To your point, sir, you said, I wish, I hate to be wrong, but 3 years ago I said, why are we not educating on medical? I will not charge you guys anything to do that. It makes sense to streamline that process because an employee in that one experience with my team can educate on medical and all the other benefits in one. And our system that Trish and us have built out can 100% administer that tomorrow at no cost. And we talk about no cost. Y'all don't pay anything for our service. We have built a business that completely is around the carriers providing us capital to be able to fund this team. And we talk about the team. I deploy 35 benefit counselors in multi-languages during that what was 8 weeks of time down to 5 weeks in a full service concierge service year round. So in the end, my consideration is I believe in the RFP process, very much so. If you don't understand the time frame, 4 weeks is not enough to do what I built, and it took us 4 months. And I would hope you would look at an RFP for 1/1/28, which would give us or maybe somebody who can have a better rating of 99%.
And I'll allow you to speak. You're a current contract holder, so I want to know what
Okay.
you have to say. So please keep going.
I said my piece. I'm going to get home to my son and get him home from the hospital. But this is very important to me because I see the reviews. I'm not going to go through the whole list of all the quotes we have from the employees. The employees have spoken out. And so if anybody feels differently on this, I would happy explain why we're doing what we're doing. I believe in the RFP process thoroughly, but I can tell you, we started this way early when we were admitted this opportunity, and we were rushed at 4 months. And based off your time frame of August 13th to launch, which we've already started and prepared for September 13th, that is insane. And the only person that would commit to that doesn't fully understand what we are providing to you, or they're possibly trying to just undercut the over situation. But I very much appreciate y'all. I love the partnership. We work with employers all across the country, and I love that I don't have to get on a plane. And I love the fact that we are a partner of yours. So regardless of your vote, I'm gonna come swinging, you know, because I'm passionate about this. And I definitely think we'll still have an opportunity, but I do think this is a 1-1-28 play if you understand what we're providing here. And thank you guys for the time.
Thank you.
Cool.
Do we have any other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Sarah Bennett. Tonight's agenda item includes a request for proposals for voluntary insurance benefits. I'm on the right one, correct? That's the right one? Okay. With this proposal was raised in March, it received criticism because it would be a lengthy process, and it probably will be. It will take time, it will require work, and it may be inconvenient. But if the purpose is to secure the best possible benefits at the lowest possible cost for LPSS employees, then why wouldn't you be willing to put in that work? In May of 2025, you voted to provide teachers and staff with a pay raise. Yet only 7 months earlier, in October of 2024, you approved a 10% increase in insurance premiums. For many employees, the raise has done little more than make up for an additional cost they were already asked to absorb. When we talk about supporting educators and staff, it cannot be limited to increasing salaries. We should also be looking for ways to reduce the financial burdens they face. Every dollar saved on insurance premiums is money that remains in the pockets of the people who serve our students every day. These voluntary benefits are not luxuries. They include not only dental and vision coverage, but also disability insurance, critical illness coverage, cancer policies, and hospital indemnity plans. When a teacher faces a medical crisis, a serious diagnosis, or an unexpected hospitalization, these benefits can make the difference between financial stability and a financial hardship. Every day, our teachers invest far more than their contracted hours. They answer emails after work, they spend evenings preparing lessons, they pull money from their own pockets to improve their classrooms, they support our children academically, emotionally, and personally. They do all of that without asking whether it is convenient. So tonight, I ask you to consider a simple question. If our educators are willing to pour that much time, effort, and personal sacrifice into serving our children, shouldn't this board be willing to spend a little extra time exploring every opportunity to secure better benefits and lower costs for them? This process may be lengthy, it may not be enjoyable, but if it results in better coverage, lower premiums, or greater financial security for the people who serve the district every day, then it's time well spent. Your vote tonight will demonstrate whether that effort is worth making. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment? All right, we have one coming.
All right, I'm Charlie Babineau with Hubbard International. As an on-again, off-again member of the Insurance Committee, this is a repeat of many moons ago for the gentleman who sponsored this item. A zebra doesn't change its stripes. Simply dusting off a couple pages of the old playbook. Let's start in 2019 with EBI. Remember this name. The provider previous to Hub. Even when that member wasn't on the committee, they showed up and made their way to the floor just before the vote to control the process on July 8th, 2019. In that same meeting was a local producer who coined himself as a local office for EBI. Remember that name? Here's another snapshot from that same meeting. You all seem to be very familiar with each other. Familiar enough that you approved and ultimately executed a six-figure consulting agreement without insurance committee or board approval. What exactly is the scope of the work? Was that contract RFP'd? Don't think so. Consulting contract to oversee consultants.
Is this pertinent to the item, Madam President? We're talking about something totally different.
I'm sorry, I thought it was pertinent to the item.
We're talking about a different,
It's concerning voluntary benefits.
No, it's concerning a contract that's been signed. I don't sign contracts. It's concerning a contract that's been signed. It's not pertinent to the item.
I disagree.
Okay. So I'll pass on. I'll keep going. You mind if I get my time back?
Absolutely.
Okay. Generally speaking, when board members are on committees, the responsibility is more than merely holding a title. Is engagement irregular, meaningful participation to help the broader board achieve its goals for the members that they represent? I think we'd agree. As a committee member, you learn by attending meetings for strategy, renewals, enrollment, service plans, et cetera, so you can be knowledgeable on a plan of this magnitude. I think we'd agree.
Are we going to let the clock stay stopped? I mean, what's happening here?
These meetings include your brokers, a large group of smart, qualified, tenured, and knowledgeable professionals that LPSS already compensates to do the work. These are significant learning opportunities to get the best understanding of the products, pricing, services provided, and compensation structure. I think we'd agree. We've had 75+ meetings and opportunities to engage. Considering I've been in a vast majority of these, it's odd for the gentleman bringing this motion to say he has never met me. Those are his comments from the last insurance meeting. So the question is, how many meetings has this gentleman attended? If you've never met me, and I've never seen you in any of the meetings, the answer is little to no engagement. Yet it was stated in the last board meeting that he's been working on this for a year, 365 days. Let that settle in for a second. Maybe at a minimum, your self-proclaimed in-depth insight into our industry could have been shared. If it's as valuable as you believe, why are you hoarding information that's harmful for the participants you note you are trying so hard to protect? We have been asked about testing the market. With the participation in meetings, you have firsthand insight into the testing of the market that we do. But not showing up, I can see where there's confusion. Yet merely by title, authority was used to make the recommendation. Simply put, if it's football terms, if you had an offensive coordinator that never showed up to practice, yet right before a football game wanted to grab the headset, doesn't work. So where does this committee member get his info? Google may say downtown Broussard over Shirley Temple's and LPSS vendor corporate events, or the extraordinary number of conferences, or maybe we were back at the contracted consultants paid to oversee consultants. Not once have we seen this member in any of our meetings. We have operated ethically, the program works, the participants are happy, and we have been transparent about the compensation as LPS requested and as publicly shared in the prior two meetings. Board members, the question is, why would you take speculative ride on an absent committee member's request? Or do you want to do what's right and honor the contract and the happy participants by not passing this motion?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comment? All right, moving to board comment. Do we have any board comment? Mr. David?
I do. I know this was brought to the insurance committee, and we voted at the last meeting, and I don't want to be ugly, I really don't. But we voted to not do this. And so basically, if we're going to bring something to the committee, and the committee votes it down, and we don't abide by that, so basically, what good is a committee? So just bypass the committee and let's just go straight to the board if this is how it's going to work.
All right.
Mr. Aldago?
So much. Mr. Lejeune, I'd like to respond to that because your committee did take this up. And they did, after I was kicked off the committee, your committee did take this up, and they, you all voted not to move forward with this RFP. But where you guys failed in process is that the board sent this item to the committee. Therefore, it is your responsibility as a committee to bring this item back to the board after you have heard this item. And when I saw it wasn't, absolutely, and you can, I know I'm pretty good at policy. We can check with the attorneys, but it is the obligation because it was voted on by the board for the committee to hear it, which means the committee needs to bring the item back. It was not on the agenda. Had you guys put it on the agenda as an item that you are recommending that is not approved, that would have been the proper way to handle it. When I saw it wasn't on the agenda, sir, I asked for it to be put on the agenda, okay? I'm not going to respond. Madam President, I'm not in disbelief. I'm disappointed that you would allow someone to sit up there and ramble all that stuff on. But I'll tell you, because, it was personal, directly. But what they're not going to ramble on is my involvement in insurance. First of all, I was on the insurance committee every year of my last term. So to suggest that I wasn't on the insurance committee last time this was a heated topic is wrong. And the retirees know doggone well it's wrong. I was on the committee and I showed up to those meetings in and out of committee. I spent hours, even the folks in here who don't like the hours I spend on this committee. The superintendent, Ms. Gardner, Ms. LaBeouf, whether they like it or not, they would be lying if they told you I don't spend hours upon hours on this topic. Not just voluntary benefits, the health side, now P&C, which nobody ever brought forth to the committee prior to this year. So to suggest that I'm not participating, how ridiculous is that? I got fussed at by you, Madam President, at the last meeting because I didn't hold a insurance committee meeting. Nobody had an insurance item. I hold meetings every month. I was holding meetings every month religiously. But when you reach out to Trish and you reach out to Gallagher and others, and no one has an agenda item, especially at that time of the year, you're talking about May, June, April? Go back in history. That's the time that mostly there's no meeting. I'm not just going to make up an item. This is for the people that work for the system. So, I don't know. It's disappointing. There's so much, guys, that we could be doing here. They want to know motive. I gave them a motive last time. They never came back to the table to try to provide anything. If you look at Gallagher, who now handles our health insurance, you know, they brought hundreds of thousands of dollars of supplemental money to the district, not to programming that their parent company owns, to the district for us to use at our discretion. We keep saying this is voluntary benefits. Life insurance is not a voluntary benefit. We pay for it. A voluntary benefit is a benefit that an employee of the system chooses if they want or not and pay for it on their own. Yet life insurance is tied in with the VB. Maybe it should be, but we don't discuss that. Cobra is a health benefit. Why do we have Cobra tied in with the VB contract? Maybe it needs to be. We're not discussing that. There's a lot of things that we aren't discussing that I want us to discuss. And I know that there are people in the market that would take a lot better, that would appreciate our business more than to be raking in $1 million a year in commissions. When our health, I'm not suggesting they don't do work outside of open enrollment, but it's very little compared to what our health insurance consultants are doing. And they making less than a quarter of that. I'm not saying that they should be making the same. I'm just saying that they have brought valuable things to the table. And I don't care if it's them. I want someone to bring valuable things to the table for us now, not in a year. And I knew this was going to be a timeline issue. And I knew 2 board members would walk out.
Is there any other board comment? All right, I have my own comment. I'm sorry I had to write this down, so I have to read it. I want to echo what David Lejeune just said, and I also want to provide some context regarding this agenda item and the events that led us here. This item already came before the board last month. Mr. Hidalgo brought this directly to the board floor without first being discussed in committee. During that meeting, we heard from our own head of the insurance department that there were no concerns with the current provider. We are in the middle of an existing contract with multiple renewal periods remaining. We were told by Ms. Trish LaBeouf that there were no performance issues, no service concerns, and no operational challenges. Given that information, it was surprising to see an RFP being proposed at this time. She said that the timing of this does not make any sense. We've heard that again tonight from the provider. The board's decision was to send the matter to committee for discussion. One of the responsibilities of board president is assigning committees. Another responsibility, though one that is used sparingly and according to our attorneys we have not done before, is the reassignment or removal of committee members and chairpersons when necessary. Leading up to that meeting, I became concerned about how the chairman of the insurance committee was operating. Specifically, at least 2 contracts were taken directly from a single board member, Jeremy Hidalgo, to the superintendent for signature without being discussed or reviewed by the full committee first. Those contracts never came before the insurance committee, despite the fact that the committee consisted of 3 board members who actively participate and represent the interests of employees, retirees, and taxpayers. After reviewing their situation and consulting extensively with our board attorneys, including Mr. John Geis, Mr. Bob Hammond, and Mr. Evan Alvarez, I determined that the committee was not functioning in the manner intended by our policies. As board president, I made the decision to replace the committee. That decision was made to ensure transparency, proper process, and the involvement of the entire committee. I did it simply and quietly, with a reassignment email to the board. Additionally, placing Ted Davidson and myself to the insurance committee. Chad DeZarmo was no longer on the board and he could no longer serve on that committee. In response, I heard nothing from Jeremy Hidalgo. Via our assistant, Ms. Christy Guidry, Josh Edmond resigned. So then I asked David Lejeune to join the committee as well. For additional context, the superintendent has authority to execute contracts on behalf of LPSS up to $100,000. I support that authority because our district could not function efficiently if every routine contract required board approval. Of the additional insurance contracts in question, one exceeded it. The reason I'm addressing this tonight is because there has been significant discussion in the community and on social media suggesting that Mr. Hidalgo's removal as committee chair was retaliation for how he votes on board matters. That is simply not true. Our public deserves to know the truth in all matters. Every board member has the right to vote however they choose tonight. Healthy disagreement is part of this job. Mr. Hidalgo was not removed because of his votes. He was removed because committee business was being conducted without the involvement and input of the full committee. At the subsequent insurance committee meeting, I was nominated by the other two committee members to serve as chair, and I accepted. During that meeting, the committee discussed the proposed RFP and unanimously voted against moving it forward. That vote included myself, Mr. Davidson, and Mr. Lejeune. In the weeks that followed, I heard from multiple board members and community members that Mr. Hidalgo was unhappy with my decision. Several colleagues encouraged me to add him back to the committee in interest of restoring unity and allowing us to move forward together. While I had reservations, I agreed, and I reappointed him to the committee with the expectation that committee procedures would be respected moving forward. In 6 years on this board, I have rarely seen someone fight so hard to serve on a committee. Usually the challenge is finding volunteers for committees. Tonight, Mr. Hidalgo has once again placed this RFP before the board, which is certainly within his rights as an elected member. However, the committee does not support it. The staff who manage this program do not believe it necessary. They have also explained there is insufficient time to conduct a thorough RFP process and successfully implement a new provider for the upcoming year. I continue to struggle to understand the urgency behind pursuing this action when neither the committee nor the administration has identified a need for it. We are entrusted to follow proper process, act transparently, and make decisions based on facts. This board is under significant public scrutiny, and rightfully so. The answer is not to abandon the process. The answer is to follow it consistently. I do not serve on this board to win popularity contests. I serve to make decisions that I believe are in the best interest of Lafayette Parish and the taxpayers who elect us. For those reasons, I will once again vote against this proposal, and I encourage my fellow board members to carefully consider the facts, the recommendations of the committee, and the recommendations of our staff before casting their vote. Thank you. Do we have any further comment from the board? All right, Mr. Britt Lashley.
Sorry, but I can't stop coughing. Is it hot in here or is it just me? Okay, thank you. That's why I can't keep coughing. Huh? It's just y'all, okay. Okay. I'm the one keep bringing up that it's Groundhog Day, okay? Now, me and Mr. Hidalgo have had conversations, okay? You telling me doing an RFP, thank you, ma'am, doing an RFP is just shopping, which is all it is. You said we can save up to almost maybe $500,000. So after last meeting, I was approached by people and asked why did I harp and vote against an item that could save our employees $500,000. Now, I don't know if it can or cannot save our employees $500,000. I know we keep bringing this up and bringing it up and bringing it up, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go away. So I'm just wondering, if I vote for it, we do an RFP, and it comes back that Hub is the best thing for us. What is the contract obligation? Do they once again have 1 year left, or are they extended? I mean, there's unanswered questions. So now, I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. I'm tired of Groundhog Day, but now I got people asking me, how can you not vote to save our employees money? I think they call that a conundrum or something, is what I'm caught in. A what? Yep, that's what I'm caught in. So you put me there, Mr. Hidalgo. I now got constituents, individuals who are close to me in the system, want to know what you're going to do. And then I got other people are like, we're going against our process. So I'd like for you to just kind of sort of, in your own words, and me and you have gone back and forth many a times over the last 12 years, just explain to me, what will this process, what are we trying to accomplish? Just me, well, I know you got to direct your comments to the president, but just what
I kind of wish you'd have been out here a minute ago. I know you got your.
No, I was.
On,
oh no, it's on TV and I could hear everything. But what I'm saying is,
several things. First of all, we're not circumventing any process. The president stated it very eloquently. Any board member has the opportunity, the ability to bring up anything at any time. The idea that every RFP we've ever done has gone through a committee is nonsense. The idea that every committee recommendation that has been sent down to this board is taken and voted in approval of is nonsense. So, you know, I have told you 1,000 times before over the years, I guess I'll say it in public, I spent a little bit of time in this business, but most of my passion here is from the time that I spent on a board previously, and then when I came back. I care about it. Our healthcare is an $80 million problem. I shouldn't call it an $80 million problem. It's well over a $10 million problem, but it's an $80 million business. We have this component. We have P&C that we're about to learn that we're saving a ton of money on by using a different process than we always do. So you're asking me, what is this going to do? I don't know if this is going to save any money, but to argue with me, to tell me that we're in a contract and we'll be breaking a contract is nonsense. We had a 1-year contract with the option for 3 additional renewals. So to answer your question, what happens if they win again? And I have zero issue if they win again, then the contract's going to be negotiated. It probably will be a 1-year contract with 3 optional renewals. I am trying, you cannot deny that despite the nonsense spoken tonight about my not showing up or my inability to be able to lead this pack, you can't deny the tremendous amount of money and savings that we've seen because I don't give up and I don't accept no just because staff doesn't want to do it. If we did everything staff would want to do, we'd get nothing done. The superintendent it doesn't have to speak, but I've been talking to the superintendent and Mrs. LaBeouf actually I talked to Mrs. LaBeouf 2 years ago about this. And she said, please don't do this now. We're about to go through a major transformation with the healthcare. No problem, I held off. I've been talking about this since April, Madam President, not Mr. Lunch. I've been talking about this since April. So the idea that this is now the last minute, I knew that I told you at the last board meeting this was going to be the excuse. You can't deny that the work we've put in on the P&C side that you're about to see has brought value. I'm not perfect. I'm not asking for credit, which is why I don't normally say this on the board floor. But I know there's more value to be had. I brought up the $1 million of average $1 million of commissions the last time. Did this organization try to come back to the table and say, look, how can we bring more value to your system? No. So don't look at me like as if I'm trying to attack them. I'm just trying to get a better deal for us. We did it with healthcare. We did it with P&C. And I'm trying to do it here. So I know I'm going to get 1,000 rebuttals. I really don't want to argue about it. I'm trying to do the right thing, but I keep getting told there's some other motive. Well, I think the people who've known me and worked for me for quite a long time know that my motives are right here on the microphone. I say what I want, and if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win.
If I win, we win. I have another comment. Mr. Lashley is not going to be Groundhog Day because he can't put this on the agenda for another 12 months. I have too many questions. Ms. LaBeouf and Mr. Babineau, can y'all come to the table, please? Because Mr. Aldago just said he doesn't know if he can save money. Whereas previous, he's made other claims to other members claiming that he's going to save $500,000. I need to know, Ms. LaBeouf, when's the renewal due, and how would you possibly we spoke about, this has now become an insurance committee meeting because we already discussed this. Can you let us know what does the renewal process look like, and why have you previously said that this is not good timing?
Okay, when Hub and AGM was voted in by the board, it was 2023. Providers always, or administrators always come on during the fall open enrollment prior to the contract effective date. The effective date of AGM and Hub's contract was January 1st of 2024. So the board approved a one-year contract with 3-year, one-year renewals. So 2024, 25, 26, and 27 would be what LPSS has an option of to continue with AGM and Hub. Does that help?
So you're saying the renewal was in January?
Yes.
January 25 and 26?
At the end of every single year.
So in December?
We do a double check with AGM and Hub. We roll over to the next year, and then we are currently in that contract for 2026. So we're in contract with them right now. We certified at the end of every single year.
So if we were to put this out to RFP right now, how long does that process take?
On average, a typical RFP for voluntary benefits, we need a 6-month runway. If by the time the way that the current RFP is written, it would be finalized in mid-August is when we would bring it back to the board. Eventually, it would go to the board insurance committee and then come to the board. That would be the middle of August, and that is a very short runway. It's about 4 months is what it is, because you've got to keep consideration of Thanksgiving and Christmas. Just for thought, it's not that staff does not want to bring it to the board. It's whatever the board directs. We are willing and able and ready to work through whatever that process is.
Okay. Mr. Babineau, can you explain where you are in the contract with us? I'm trying to understand explicitly what the situation is.
Yeah, so oddly enough, it's the exact same contract that you guys are now offering in the speculative RFP. It matches, exactly. Let's just talk about vendors. If you're a qualified vendor and you see how this suggestion looks and feels, why would you get qualified people to come do it? If you're just gonna cut them in half after they spent time and money and resources doing what they do. Not a very good feel, not a very good look. At least you might want to at least change it a bit to look different than what you currently have, if you're gonna do it. I'll say it again. And it's funny because to get people's attention, you got to talk about money, right? And throwing around numbers like $500,000, $300,000, it piques people's interest, right? It's exciting. Got an opportunity to do something. But if you have nothing else to talk about, let's just throw out money. Start talking about what we can possibly do. Again, why would you disrupt something that works and take a speculative ride off of somebody that just said, I don't know if we can save money, but he's been telling everybody he can save $500,000. Does that make sense to anybody here? Which is accurate? Which is accurate? That's the concern. Why would you get qualified people to come fight this? Why would you disrupt something that works? Again, if he knows the answers to the test, he knows how to save $500,000, why don't you show up to meetings, participate, tell us all your insight, give us the gold.
Okay, I'm going to have to limit you on that kind of attack. I'm sorry.
Ms. Mason, can I add some
Yes.
context to it? So the
Yes, Mistress, I would like, may I? Yes.
So the difference between a group health insurance RFP and a voluntary benefits RFP is that when we work through that process with your group health insurance is you're evaluating it and you know the pricing up front. So therefore the board makes decisions based on how that RFP went through and what the cost savings looks like. The difference with a voluntary benefits RFP is you post the RFP and the board elects that administrator, then they go to market check, they market all the benefits, and at that point in time, after the board has already awarded the contract, is when you determine whether that pricing will be better than what the incumbent had or the new elected administrator. Does that make sense? So you won't learn pricing until after the board has approved a new administrator.
All right, thank you. Yes, Ms. LeBeau.
And maybe this is a question for Mr. Hammonds. So reading the RFP, it looks like it states that the LPSS intends to award an initial one-year contract effective January 1st, 2027. Could you amend that to be January 1st of 2028? An RFP early?
Well, the answer is sure. I think you can always extend it. I was curious, the date says RFP opening on July 28, 2026, because that was my question as I looked at these documents and compared them to your existing contract. Your existing contract has a clause in it that says that the school board is to notify the current provider 30 days prior to the expiration as to whether they're going to continue it for the following year, and that in no event can you extend 4 years. So that would be 2027 would be the last possible year under the existing contract.
Correct.
Also, that contract provides that any party can terminate it with 60 days written notice to the other. And so that to me, as your attorney, is very important because that shows me that if you were to, and I'm not going to accuse anybody of doing this, but if you were to enter into a contract that wasn't advantageous to the school system, you could extricate yourself from that contract with 60 days notice to the other. Of course, then you'd probably have to go back out again with some kind of bid process to figure out who would step in at that point to monitor or manage this program. So the answer to your question, Ms. LeBeau, is yes. You can change the dates on the opening, you can change the dates on the application, but under your current contract, it will expire at maximum at the end of 97. Excuse me, 27.
I wish it was 90. I wish it was 97 again. That
That's
was a
right.
good year.
So do I.
All right, thank you.
Madam President.
Yes, Mr. Latchley?
So do the RFP to take effect January 28?
Ms. LeBeau.
Can
May I
you
make a
clarify?
comment?
Can you
Can you clarify
It would
whether
have to be
that's-
done during the open enrollment period, not to start it for January 1st, if that's what I just heard.
Okay, so it would really need to be in effect when? In July of 2027?
Ideally, we would need board approval no later than July, preferred prior to that point, so that they work through the open enrollment period in the fall. They actually work prior to the contract becoming effective. The new administrator does. So they come on during the fall open enrollment, they do the open enrollment period, and then benefits are effective January 1st of whatever that giving year is. So they're working prior to the contract effective date. That's what the RFP notes as well.
So the contract date would be January 1st, but how early do they start working before the effective date?
They come on board after board approval. The latest that we've done it is June in any given year. The last 2 voluntary benefits RFPs have been approved by the board in June. We typically work through the implementation process, and then they start open enrollment mid-September through mid-October. They go on campuses, they meet with our employees, and then come January 1st is technically when the contract actually begins. So they are starting prior to that point. So if you're requesting to issue an RFP, I would say the spring of 2027.
You're saying you would need to make the contract effective spring of 2027?
No.
Not that the contract's
No.
effective, but if you're wanting to issue
a
the RFP, yes, ma'am.
The spring would be a better
The
time.
spring would be a better time.
So when does their last 1 year renewal end?
On 12/31 of 27,
So next year.
yes.
Okay.
I guess what I'm trying to ask, or is ask Mr. Hidalgo, or if we do the RFP, okay, and there is not enough time, but if we grant it and do it, can it take effect next year?
That's what this entire motion is.
Take effect in December of
No.
27?
No. The motion is to take effect in January 27. So what happens is you go out to RFP, you choose the vendor, whoever it is. If it's Hub again, then smooth sailing. If it's not, then the new vendor goes and does all of their market stuff, and then they're enrolling in October-ish or whenever the open enrollment is. And so their contract hasn't started yet, but they're working. That's the way it's probably been since the beginning of time with every contract. And then their contract goes into effect, because they get paid commissions, they're not gonna get paid till January anyway, because their products don't go into effect till January. And so then it would start in January 27, and then whatever the contract terms would be, if it's the same thing, 1 year with 3 optional renewals, it would fly like that. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Well, okay, so we do an RFP, but we don't know if we're gonna save money or we're not gonna save money. So if I go ahead and vote to do an RFP, and then I just turn around, or not just turn around, but am not convinced, and just vote for Hub.
I mean, you certainly do, he could certainly do what he wants, Madam President, but to the point of the money savings, since it was brought up twice, maybe 3 times, I certainly cannot sit here and tell you, you are going to save $500,000. That would be nonsense. But what I can tell you is that every item we've championed so far in insurance, in these 2.5 years, we have saved money. So I'm very confident about it. And I'm very confident that even Hub will come back to the table with a better proposal. And that's what I'm hopeful for. So I can't tell you how to vote. I mean, you vote how you want. This item has to come back before the board.
Right, so I vote for an RFP and am satisfied with Hub. It means we've done the RFP and they still win, then nothing changes.
Correct. If they are in fact the best option, then this process will show it. But we know how this market is, not this market, all markets have been volatile for years, so that's my push for the RFP now.
Mr. Lejeune?
So if we would do the RFP now, would we have to come back next year and do it again? Because that 1 year contract ends in January of 2027, December of 2027?
No, I would think it would be a 1+3. We'd never have to see it again.
No, we could though. You say we don't have to, but we could do it every year if we wanted to, right? Could we not?
That's what we're doing now.
Y'all can do what y'all want. I'm not dealing with this next year. I'm going somewhere.
Can I let our,
That is what I'm saying, okay?
can I let our attorney clarify, please?
Mr. Lejeune, the difference is this. Your current contract gives Hub a maximum of one more year, which would be the year of 27. If you went out for proposals and you came in and turned around and gave it back to Hub, then that would initiate a new contract. So the current contract, which currently expires at the end of 27, would be replaced with a new contract that, as if it's consistent with the existing contract, would be a 1 year at a time contract up to a maximum of 4 years. So that would be the difference. Answer to your question, what would be different? That would be the difference. Instead of having the existing contract, you would be operating under a new contract at that time.
Can I comment?
No.
No.
Yes. Did someone misspeak? Is that what you're saying?
I think Bob meant to say like this contract would end at the end of 2026, and then the new contract would go into effect January 1st of 2027.
Is that
I think you said
correct?
2027.
If you do this with these timelines.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the fact, I'm going to restate my comment, but I'm going to sum it up. The insurance committee and everyone who attends all of the insurance committee meetings have been completely ignored in this process. Mr. Hidalgo, you have brought this to the board again against the recommendation of the committee.
Bring it back, Madam President. Point of order.
Attorney.
You didn't bring it back.
Can you answer the question?
Well, when it came to the board the previous time was the one meeting in the whole year that I missed. But as my recollection, did the board take any action at that meeting, or did the board just refer it to the committee for the committee to make a recommendation?
They deferred it to the committee.
Okay, so the board took no action other than to send it back to the committee. So the committee has made a recommendation, and unusual. It's unusual. Most boards have a policy that provides that to get it to the board level, you have to have a committee recommendation, and not a negative recommendation. And that is that a committee typically would not put an item on the agenda to deny something, ordinarily, because it's automatically denied unless you take action to approve it. And so that's why the typical motion would be, it went to the committee recommends approval. The way that this board handles its committees is different than the way that I've seen it handled in most of the other public school systems in Louisiana. And that's something that we can talk about, because I know we're in the process of beginning a policy review. And in your policy review, that would be one of the areas that the board will want to have much discussion on, as far as the use of committees to formulate recommendations to bring to the board level. Now, of course, the committee can make a recommendation and the board can vote down the recommendation. That's the prerogative of the board at any time. But what I have discovered over the years is that oftentimes if you have a working committee and the committee puts the time and effort into studying these issues, the other board members will gain confidence that when it comes to the board from the committee, that the committee has discussed all the issues and is making the most thoughtful recommendation for the benefit of the school system. I've even seen situations in some parishes where there has not been a committee recommendation that has been challenged in 4 or 5 years in a row, because the committees have met, they've talked it out, they've done whatever they had to do for their due deliberations, and they've come out and made recommendations. The board just accepts those recommendations because they know that the time and effort has already been put into it. And so in a situation like this, like I said, I want to go back and repeat, ordinarily, a committee that votes something down does not put anything on the agenda, because unless it's approved by the board, it can't happen anyway. It's only if you want something to happen that you have to put it on the board's agenda and ask for a vote if it's coming with a committee recommendation. So a long answer to a short question, but I hope I addressed what your question was.
You mentioned you missed the meeting, so I want to tell you that the motion made by the member to send it to committee was followed with, I don't want to see this just die. So, you know, the fact that our policies are different, I appreciate you saying that, and the fact that it should come back to the board for ratification on any item. Because had you been at that committee meeting, you would have seen no different conversation than was had on the board floor after a committee member was expelled.
Can I say one?
Yes, Mr. Hammond?
And again, I'll turn it back off again. Under your policy, any board member has the right to put any item on the agenda. You can put the item on the agenda. And even if you're a member, say the committee studies something and the committee comes back split on the recommendation. I'll say a 3 board member committee, it's 2 to 1, you're the one. And so if you want to challenge that decision, you have the right to put it on the agenda, and it can be reported that this is coming against the recommendation of the committee. And so the other board members have to decide, with all information on the table, whether you want to support the position taken by the 1 or you want to support the position taken by the 2. That's your prerogative. The only other thing that was mentioned by Madam President is you also have a very unique rule that says that no item can be voted on by the board more than 2 times in a calendar year. And so that's something that you're going to have to keep in mind as well. And actually the reason that that rule is there is because it avoids a situation where one board member puts the same item on the agenda for every meeting when it's going to be voted down year in and year out. I represented the board in another parish where they had a board member who 12 months in a row put an item on the agenda that failed 10 to 2. And for 12 months in a row, he put the same item on the agenda, and it failed 10 to 2. And it had to be 2 because he had to get a second or you couldn't even vote on it. And so the board, after a while, got tired of having to devote time to an item that failed 12 consecutive times, 10 to 2. So what they did, they passed a policy that says after it's been voted on, you can't bring it back for a certain period of time without 2/3 vote. And so what this board did was a little bit of a different twist to that, and saying, we're going to let you bring it back as long as you only can bring it back once in a 12-month basis. And so that was their way of avoiding that situation where somebody on the losing side puts the same issue up over and over and over again. And over a course of time, it helped with that particular situation. They still had the opportunity to put the item up. They still had full discussion of the board. It still get voted down. But once it got voted down a couple times, that was going to be it. Now, I also wanted to add one other thing, too. The 2 times in a calendar year can also be waived by this board, because what it says is that the board has the right to suspend any policy by 2/3 vote. And so your policy says you can't do it but 2 times in a calendar year. But if you had 6 of the 9 board members who wanted to suspend that policy, you could consider it a 3rd time. So again, the board has the prerogative to write these policies. And again, as you start your new policy review process, I'm going to really encourage all the board members to become active in that process, because the policies that we're talking about tonight are policies that are going to impact all of your operations across the board. And again, I want them to be as streamlined as they can be. I want them to be as clean as they can be. And sometimes that's difficult when you write policies, but this is one that I think really needs to be looked at going forward.
Thank you. Oh.
Can I make one more comment, or I think it's important, because shopping insurance is a different process, right? And I'd like, maybe Ms. LaBeouf can talk because she's up here, or maybe we'll ask Lynn to come. Explain where we're at in the process with shopping as we sit here today. Where are we at in the shopping process? And I can ask Lynn to come up, and he can explain exactly where we're at. Like he said, we've already got options. We've got alternative options. Like, the work has already been done for this calendar year. So really, RFPing this just means you're going to go out to all the same markets we went to, take over our work potentially, and just take it and run while giving administration a bunch of problems to implement everything. But Lynn, I'd like for you to expand on that.
As I mentioned when I was speaking, we're well into the renewal process of this year. We're finalizing our negotiations. We know we have no cost increase on the life insurance. It was previously mentioned that that's a portion that's employer funded there with your basic life. There's cost decreases on some lines of coverage. Everything's been marketed just like it was marketed years ago with over 20 lines of coverage on each one. So we're completing that process, and we're right on time with that right now to be prepared for open enrollment in a couple of months. With the way this schedule is, we'll actually be in here doing open enrollment in September, or excuse me, in August for a small portion of the group before the decision's even made. So we're well into the process.
Right, thank you.
Mr. Hidalgo, just do your RFP to start in January. Working.
Mr. Lotzler, the contract.
Right.
Mr. Lotzler, if that were the case, believe me, we would not have been wasted all this time, if that were the case, right? Because currently, if their contract is renewed another year, which it can be, that's all it can be renewed. Therefore, we would be required to go back out to RFP next year. I have made it clear, I'm not hiding anything. I am asking to go out to RFP this year. And all this timeline stuff, sir, you remember, I talked about it and you said, oh, it's always about a timeline. Well, here we are. And let me tell you something, where there's a will, there's a way. They can make it happen, and I know they can.
All right. Ms. Lashley, you have something to say?
Yeah, I'm still thinking.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and say I disagree with this. I think this is a waste of time for our staff. I think this is disrespectful to the committee. And I disagree, and I'm voting against this.
Yeah, I'm torn right down the middle of what I got constituents telling me, what I've got our president telling me, what I've got our vendors telling me. I can see two things happening. I can see going to RFP and turning around and keeping the same company we have, because if there is nothing better out there. And then do I solve both sides of it? Because this is one of these votes where you're sitting there, we used to have the mouse and you go back from yes to no, yes to no, yes to no. So if I vote not to do an RFP, then I guess I got to kind of sort of explain it to people. And then if I vote to do an RFP, then I guess I still got to sort of explain it to people. So I got to explain it either way. I too think it's a waste of time. But the people that have a question about it may not think it is a waste of time.
So, Mr. Lashley, I have a question.
Sure.
Do you trust the people on the insurance committee?
I trust everybody, but we still cut the cards. I play Blu-ray a lot. We're gonna cut the cards. You know what I'm saying? I've got two sides I've got to look at. I can tell you, we go to RFP, I'm still gonna probably vote for these people.
It's not your vote.
Huh?
It's not your vote. The way this is written, it goes to the committee. And then it's sent to it goes to the RFP committee, and then it's sent to the superintendent. And then it comes to the board.
Right.
So they pick the three.
Right.
And then they come to the board.
Right.
So you trust that process?
We're gonna do it next year anyway. I know, I'm with you.
This comes down to whether you trust the people on this committee or not.
Do the people that have confronted me trust the process because they're asking me why I voted something that could have saved us money? That's what I'm trying to say. Is people keep telling us we got to listen to our constituents, and we've got to listen to people. And I've got questions I've got to ask.
We have not had any complaints about this voluntary benefits. I've got a line of retirees in the back nodding their head.
There. So, Ms. LaBeouf, have we had any complaints about from the people that are using voluntary insurance. Have we had any complaints? I know we talked about it in the insurance committee meeting, but
I don't know of any current concerns, Mr. Lachele. Mr. Lejeune, I'm
It's
so
okay.
sorry.
I got a little bit of hair.
The cough
Okay,
is really
nobody can
causing
tell
an
me
issue
and
this
Kate apart.
evening. No, sir, I don't have any current concerns coming from members, from department, from retirees, from active employees. It's not landed at my doorstep recently. No, sir.
So basically, the question is, do we just honor the contract when it renews, or do we go to RFP? So that's basically the question, right?
Yes, sir.
And there have been no complaints, and nobody's ever spoken to me in my district about it, so everything's good there. So, okay, thank you.
Madam Secretary, I call for the vote.
Ms. LeBeau?
Yes.
Ms. Mason?
No.
Mr. Lachele?
Yes.
Mr. Hidalgo?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Trahan?
Yes.
Mr. Bergeron?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
No.
Mr. Lejeune?
No.
Mr. Edmond?
Yes.
6 for, 3 against, motion carries.
All right, seeing no other items, oh, sorry.
4.12.
It was 4.12, Madam
All right,
President.
you pulled that, Mr. Hidalgo.
Yes, staff asked me to pull it to make this following motion. I move that we amend policy EG by removing the last sentence of paragraph 4 in order to allow for the use of multiple brokers/agencies, and that we approve our insurance consultant's recommendations as to the placement of property and casualty insurance coverages, including student coverages for the 2026-2027 fiscal year.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and by Mr. Hidalgo and a second by Mr. Bergeron. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none, do we have any board, oh, you're coming, sorry.
Thank you to the members of the school board, superintendent, Madam President. My name is Carlene Patterson. I am the current insurance broker from Alliant Insurance Services, and I'm here to address both the change to the sentence as well as the recommendation by the consultant. First of all, why I would recommend that you only have one insurance broker, and the reason is one broker means a cohesive overall strategy and seamless program design. It also ensures that there's no gaps in coverage or any overlaps or duplications. It also reduces the administrative burden which is increased when you have two different consultants, more meetings, more certificates of insurance, endorsements, trying to reconcile all of that information. So it does provide consistency and reduces errors. With regard to the recommendation by the consultant, first, I would contend that this different process that was held this year did not result in the savings that you see in front of you. What the savings in front of you that you see is because of the insurance market itself. You all saw this, the beginning of a softening property market last year with the results that we brought to the table for the July 1, 2025 renewal. But also, I want to give you a little bit of context with regard to the Louisiana casualty market. Louisiana is among the most challenging U.S. jurisdictions for casualty, driven by lawsuit abuse, insurance fraud, and an unusually high jury trial threshold. BI claims, bodily injury claims frequency is typically about twice the national average relative to accident rates and contributing to some of the nation's highest auto premiums. Beyond auto, sexual abuse and molestation, or SAM claims, are highly volatile and often generate substantial defense costs and multi-million-dollar verdicts. The national rates for general liability, auto liability, and umbrella excess range anywhere from 5% on the low end to 30% on the high end. And so with the marketing summary and results, we approach the market. We've been the insurance broker for Lafayette Parish School Board since 2021. And we approach the market and look for carriers with consistent appetite, long-term commitment to K-12 public schools through favorable and adverse loss years. Given Louisiana's adverse climate for casualty, Alliant has aggressively marketed the program each year and reported outcomes to risk management. Over the past 4 years, competitive casualty alternatives were constrained by pricing, minimum retentions, or the Louisiana jurisdiction. We went to at least 14 markets in each of the last two years, and none except for your current carrier, Munich, or American Alternative Insurance Company is the paper they write on, offered terms. In fact, Hudson, can I continue? Thank you.
The one.
In fact, Hudson, which is the recommended option by the consultant, declined the last 2 years due to losses. And so with regard to Hudson itself, I don't have privy to all of the detailed information, but it's a non-admitted carrier and it's not regulated by the state and therefore not subject to state guarantee protections in insolvency. Munich, or American Alternative, is a admitted carrier and offers a lot of capacity and consistency because they have been partnering with the school board for over 15 years. Just a couple of different observations that I saw on the documents that were presented to you with regard to the contracted bus drivers. It shows that it's covered under the Hudson option on an admitted basis or on a primary basis, which is completely opposite of the way it should be structured because as you already voted on, you vote for the contracted bus drivers to actually provide a primary level of insurance. So if it is indeed primary, there's a conflict, and it would be an issue if there was a claim. In fact, and I was told that although it says primary on the consultant's notes, there was no reference to it in the actual quotes on the file as far as how the contracted bus drivers are being covered. It's a very unique exposure to Lafayette Parish School Board to have the contracted drivers covered and on an excess basis. And because contractor drivers themselves actually don't fall under the definition of an insured on a policy unless it's specifically endorsed. So that, along with some other concerns, makes me wonder if there are some things that were possibly missing from the quote, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Rationale for binding with Munich or American Alternative, it does have an appetite and a commitment to Louisiana. It's been a consistent long-term partner with demonstrated claims paying and understanding of district exposures. They've offered some value adds like some violent response coverage with no deductible. They offer risk control funds that staff is able to use to help reduce the frequency or severity of losses within the district. It's a financial fit because it is a stronger financial company and it has a long-standing K-12 appetite nationally and in Louisiana. It is standard practice in our industry that when you get competitive market quotes, that you do give the incumbent market a last look. We say we've got a competitive option, we really need you to sharpen your pencil. And in this case, even though the consultant did not ask us to, after almost 20-year relationship, I did go back to American Alternative and ask them to give us their best and final. They did. That's the revised option that you see in front of you. It was down under item A17 on the list that was I guess is the summary that was provided to you of the different options. And that is an actual 9.73% reduction in pricing over the expiring policy. So in conclusion, in a constrained Louisiana market with limited competitive alternatives and elevated loss volatility, American Alternative remains the most stable and strategically aligned partner, offering stronger coverage language, sexual abuse and molestation defense structure, admitted paper, and meaningful risk management support at a competitive rate. And I encourage the board to renew with your current carrier, American Alternative. And thank you for the additional time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Do we have any further public comment? Do we have any board comment? Ms. LeBeau?
I think this question probably is for Mr. Mouton. She did mention, having multiple or additional insurance certificates and, different things that happen with having two brokers. Would any of that affect our rating, bond rating, or attractiveness, or ratings in general? I'm just curious if that has effect on that.
I think the answer is no.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Do we have any further board comment? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, I'll call for the vote.
Mr. Hidalgo?
Yes.
Mr. Bergeron?
Yes.
Mr. Lejeune?
No.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Edmond?
Yes.
Ms. Trahan?
Yes.
Ms. LeBeau?
No.
Ms. Mason?
No.
And Mr. Latolet?
Yes.
6 for, 3 against. Motion carries.
Seeing no further items, this meeting is adjourned.